Hey guys, this is the Basement Studio Podcast. This is episode 1. We're going to cover in our podcast music and movies and news and wrestling and just all things pop culture-esque. Today we're going to talk about Death Wish, the movie, with trash Bruce Willis. But next week we're going to do like a regular podcast. We're going to cover like a broader spectrum of topics. But to start out talking about Death Wish, Zach.
Well, the opening scene is the cops fucking rushing through the city. And they go to the hospital where Bruce Willis literally walks into the room.
Spoiler alert.
Oh yeah, we forgot to throw out a spoiler alert on this.
Yeah, spoiler alert for the first 5 seconds of the movie.
Just for future reference.
And he literally walks into the room where the cop is laying with his vest on, but the blood's coming out from under the vest with no damage.
You gotta say, he's in the middle of surgery.
Yeah, he's in the
they're
middle
like,
of
go
surgery.
get Dr. Bruce Willis.
Yeah, and he comes in, puts his fingers on the dude's neck. He's like, I'm calling it. 12:24.
Let's get the best doctor in the hospital.
Wait, is that exact timestamp? Did you just remember that, or is that like...
It sounds right.
It does sound right.
It was around midnight. It's not important.
My only beef with that is like when it starts, it looks like it's gonna play such an important part of the movie.
Yeah.
Like it's so intense.
But it ends up being, this is how you know he's a doctor. Because he can put his fingers on people's necks and tell that they're dead.
Like, look how great of a trauma surgeon.
Like, go get Dr. Bruce Willis. He comes in, he's like, yup, he's dead.
He shows up to trauma and he's like, no, I'm not even gonna deal with this.
Thank the Lord, baby Jesus, we had Bruce Willis to tell us this man was dead.
Yeah, I thought a part of being in like an emergency room doctor was at least trying. I thought that was at least a portion.
That was indicator number 1. This movie was going to be terrible.
Yeah, and his emotion, like he was just completely emotionless.
Yeah.
When he's,
I can
when
tell
he's
you
checking.
that
Throughout the whole movie.
that I've not even seen the movie, and if someone was like, "Oh, Bruce Willis is gonna save my life," I'm like, "No, the fuck he's not."
Right, just if anybody watches it, just based on the trailer, I think you could look at it. Well, if you've seen the trailer, you've seen the movie.
More or less.
Essentially. Like that end scene, it's all
Most
there.
of the shots
So
from the
it's-
trailer at the end of the movie.
So it's like one of those movies that it's gonna show you the best parts of it.
Yeah, absolutely.
Well, there's no best parts. There's
Yeah, it was,
better parts.
Yeah, there's better parts than
parts.
others.
Like the
And-
ice cream man.
I think every kill in the movie made it into both trailers.
I'm
Yeah,
pretty
oh,
sure.
yeah.
Because I was just clicking through them earlier, and yeah, I noticed most of the kills
How
were
many-
in there.
I don't remember what the kill count is.
Not enough.
No, not enough.
Not enough. To
Well,
be
there's
called
like-
Death Wish.
Yeah, exactly. But
It's 10 max, I think.
yeah,
Because there's not a lot.
Not even including people he didn't kill.
yeah. The part
Yeah.
that bugs me, like when the dude's dying, I'm not a doctor. I don't know a lot of doctor-esque stuff.
No.
But this man's heart rate starts increasing. Like the machine is like beep 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 beep, and then he just flatlines. Don't you think your heart rate would slow before you die?
Well, that's the difference between movies and reality. Movies is completely
That's the difference.
Well, I think Eli Roth should do a little research, just a little.
Just a hair.
You know, Star Wars. I thought Star Wars actually happened, and then I heard that heart rate monitor. And
Then I was like, no,
no.
there's no way. So where do they go after that? Oh, is it Mike Epps after that? Do you know
Mike
Yeah.
Epps is
He's-
in the opening scene. Yeah.
He
Epps?
starts strolling down through the hospital,
Please
and
tell-
then lo and
Oh.
behold, his favorite, what?
No.
His like buddy doctor is Mike Epps. Like
Yeah.
that's who they got to be his friend.
Yeah, but you,
Wow,
Oh,
that's
God,
such
but
a
like-
waste of a cameo.
not even talking about the fact that Mike Epps is a doctor, which is not believable.
right, but they also don't use any of Mike Epps' skills.
Also, on what planet is Mike Epps friends with Bruce Willis?
That's true.
Like, what circles do they run?
What
in?
kind of C-class celebrity?
So-
Like Mike Epps.
So not only is Mike Epps in the movie, and he plays his buddy, Dr. Chris Salgado.
It doesn't
literally-
matter. They don't say it.
No. His literal fucking description is a Playboy doctor and close friend.
When is
Of
that
Bruce
ever
Willis.
referenced?
It's
Playboy.
A
A
Playboy.
Playboy doctor.
You know what they use to connect them as close friends? When he goes, "Hey, old man," when he's walking through the
Yeah.
hospital, and
Yeah,
he's
he's
like
like,
fucking baseball.
Oh,
tickets.
Yep.
you got me. That's my one weak spot is that I'm old.
So what's right after the opening scene? What are they? What's right
It's
after
Paul and his
Aren't they-
family.
Aren't they having breakfast or something?
Yeah, they're having
She
breakfast.
finds out she got into
Oh,
college.
Yeah.
dude, that was so goofy.
It was that. she like screams, and he's like, I wonder if she got in. She walks in acting like nothing happened,
Oh,
and
hey,
then she's like,
guys.
I got in, and they all freak out. But before that, they're acting like nothing's going on. He's like, did you hear a noise?
Yeah.
Like, I thought I heard a noise.
It's just so
must be
goofy.
a bird.
It's just so overplayed. It just doesn't make any
Yeah.
sense.
I mean, why is she even getting accepted to college? It's not like her dad can't afford it. I mean, he's a fucking
That's-
well, I
surgeon.
mean, I don't think their money has any. Like,
Exactly. I mean,
Money
I was
is
like,
a
oh,
real
I got accepted. Like,
Especially
oh,
when
you
you see
worked
that
for
house.
it, really?
dude,
You worked for
the
it?
crib they live in.
Their house is
He's
real,
a surgeon.
You
What do
know,
you expect? He's making six.
you
You know,
see a
but
total
here's
of
here's,
three
some, here's
rooms.
something else that kind of will be brought up later on though. They live in this nice house, and you can see they have a nice alarm system.
Oh
now,
my god.
what would happen if they turned that alarm system on?
God, it'd be
So
great.
after
I'm still on the thing about. I mean, where does it take place at? Like, what city?
Chicago.
Chicago.
Granted,
Of
Chicago.
course he's
That's why-
successful.
hold on.
It's Chirac.
Okay.
Granted, Chicago's a war zone, but he lives in like the nicest part of
Oh, yeah.
Chicago possible.
If they were gonna try to like show Chicago as like it truly is, they use the worst representation
Oh, yeah.
of a home.
Like,
This man lives in like I don't know what Chicago's real estate market's like, but it's got to be in the millions of
Look,
dollars.
here's
Of
some
the home.
helicopter
Yeah.
footage of what's probably Vancouver, not even Chicago.
They did. I think some
They
of the
did
filming,
film in Chicago.
Yeah, they filmed
'Cause they
some
think
in
Chicago
Chicago,
at the
but
end of the
some in
movie.
Oh, yeah, I
Vancouver
forgot
also.
about that.
Yeah. In case you didn't know, Vancouver's like plays every city ever.
Yeah.
With the, yeah.
It's like where they at? L.A.
It's like
Nah, that's
90%
Vancouver.
Vancouver's just got a
filming
little bit of
that.
everything going on.
Like background, anything like that, like any city life, like 90% of it's Vancouver. I don't know why, but I mean it's a beautiful place.
So
Okay.
after I can't see. Let me see.
And then the thing,
After-
the thing with the watch.
Yeah.
It's not really important, but he's like, I think my watch is broken.
Oh
She's
yeah.
like, get a new one. She gets him a new one, and that ends up being how he figures out like half the stuff.
Yeah.
In the movie.
Yeah, and then the next scene is the soccer scene,
Oh yeah.
which
Where
I mean-
there's a dude screaming for no
Yeah.
Which,
reason.
yeah, so it's just so the daughter's playing soccer, and then like there's just like this angry dad who's just like screaming and like
But
he's
it's not.
screaming
It's not like,
profanities.
come on, do
he-
better. He's like, you
he's-
fucking piece of shit.
Yeah, he's like you. He
he's
was,
yelling at his kid like it's a dog.
yeah, he's like,
telling
if
it
you
to
don't do
fuck-
better, I'm gonna
See,
stab you in the hip with
he-
a fork
like,
when we
one
get
of
home.
One of the things he says is, he's like, that was a bullshit pass, and you know it.
Yeah.
He's like, they're like, towards the end of their high school careers. He's
Yeah.
like, are you still doing this?
Yeah,
That's like a 6th grade thing.
and they pretty much do it just to show that Bruce Willis is a pussy before he starts killing people. Like that's pretty much it. Because like,
and the guy's like, why don't you do something about it, Bruce Willis? And he's like, nah.
and then Bruce Willis is
And then he just
pug
kid-
chin. It's all like wrinkly.
And
It's
then
just
he-
like no, thank
then,
you.
Then
Yeah.
and then he like kisses his wife, and then the scene ends, and you're like, what?
What?
And
Yeah.
then-
What? Why does this have to do with anything?
I think the only thing that scene helped to say was that Bruce Willis's character got his ass beat as a kid,
We'll see.
and like even into his adult life, he just didn't ever fight anybody.
Well, see, you say that, and then they're at dinner with the uncle, and they're like, "Oh yeah, your old man used to be a scrapper back in the day."
Yeah.
So like is he a badass, like, or is he just some like real soft puss now?
He probably
what
took
happened?
like night class to like karate, like broke his
Night
hip or
class
something.
karate.
Yeah. Can you just see Bruce Willis like getting in his car at night, like I'm gonna whoop
Be
their
like, yeah.
ass. They're never gonna treat me like that again. Like, he's
He's like,
just,
someone else, give me your money. He's like, hold on, fella. I just want to let you know,
whoa, mama.
I got a black belt
I'm
in
just
karate.
saying, pretty much what I've heard so far. This movie sounds like a complete rip-off of that Jodie Foster movie where I can't remember like what like the setting was.
The Brave one.
Yeah, where
The
she buys a
Brave
gun.
One with Jodie Foster,
It's
yeah.
pretty much what it's like.
Yeah.
It's
Doesn't
like-
she buy a gun to like protect herself?
Yes,
And she just starts
and
killing people.
She
with
like
it?
kills
Becomes a
people because people.
vigilante.
Yeah,
Yeah.
it's just pretty much what it's like.
God,
It's
that's
just
so stupid.
it's just like a female
Nobody will
version
kill
of
my
Bruce.
fiance
it's like,
again.
But Jodie's like a female version of Bruce Willis, and Bruce Willis is like the male version of Jodie
Yeah.
Foster, which is pretty similar because they both kind of look.
Okay.
So after soccer game scene,
After soccer game.
They're-
Isn't that the
they're
dinner?
at
where they're getting
they're
ready to go to dinner?
dinner with the uncle or lunch with the uncle.
lunch with the uncle,
Where
he
he
says,
makes, which I want to bring this up to talk about it later. Fucking, he brings up that the daughter should learn Krav Maga, so
Oh,
she's gonna
yeah,
be moving to New York.
yeah.
I'm gonna write that
And
down
then
so we
she-
don't forget to
Then
cover
she
that.
grabs him into a headlock, and Bruce Willis and his wife are both like, "Yeah." She goes Monday, Wednesday, Friday, 3 times a
Like,
week
you
for
didn't-
like the last 3
You
weeks or
didn't
something.
know, Uncle?
By the way, I'm sure I just butchered the spelling of Krav Maga. but
It's
I'm-
KRAVA.
I'm not even
No, you
worried
spelled it
about
right.
hey, look at your boy.
But they're like,
Something
by the
like
way,
that.
Uncle Frank, this bad motherfucker sitting right next to me. She been taking Krav Maga since you were a baby.
Right, she be taking Krav
Yeah.
Maga, but she can't fend off nobody. So okay, after dinner, which is completely irrelevant, just to show that she does Krav Maga, I guess, but it's never useful at any point. She never uses it. So what's next?
When they're leaving, Miguel, the valet, hears
Oh,
that
yeah.
Oh, okay, yeah.
the
And
uncle says, I'm not the one paying, he's the one with the money.
Yeah.
And then he gets in his car and leaves.
Yeah,
And
and-
Which
Miguel's
is just like
and
off
so this-
audio. That's not even like
yeah.
the focused conversation of
Yeah.
that scene.
So
And then
these motherfuckers have their own valet.
No,
No,
they're
no,
at a
they're
restaurant.
at a
that has a
restaurant.
valet
I was about to
service.
say, how rich are
They're-
these
they're
motherfuckers?
They don't have like a valet that like follows them or anything.
no, they're at a restaurant and they're leaving, and he pays the valet. But as he's giving him money, he sees the valet's hand and it has like MJ tattooed on. He's like, "Oh, you a Bulls fan?"
Yeah, it's like right on his
And
wrist.
he's like, "No, those are my initials." And it's like, "All right, first of all, that's dumb, but we're gonna leave that there."
It
I'm gonna leave that.
was
Let's
kind
leave
of
that
weird.
to leave that to bad
So
writing.
so then, the guy gets in the car. Yeah, the guy goes and gets the car.
Mhm.
But when he gets in, they show him taking a perfectly 4K photo of the like he pulls up the GPS in the car and like it shows their home address and he takes a picture of it. And then he takes the car back and you're like, "Oh, MJ's sketchy. Like he's into some weird stuff." So then they drop the car off, they get in the car, they leave. Where do they go after that? They go right back home then?
They go home and then the scene cuts to the next night where
When they're getting ready to go to
when
dinner.
they're supposed to go to dinner
Yeah.
and then Bruce
And
gets the
it's his
call to go
birthday.
back into work.
Well, it's
Yeah.
his birthday, and then he
Yeah.
opens the present from his wife, and she's like, "It's a new watch," and he's like, "Oh, thank you."
And
Right.
then
Real
and
nice
instead
watch,
of
though.
putting it on,
Yeah.
which he said he needed the watch so badly for, he just, yeah, I'm coming into
I'll just
work.
leave it so that
Yeah.
that guy from the valet can take it and I can find it later.
Yeah.
Yeah. So then he's like, "Oh, dinner's canceled," and then
Yeah, because
Bruce
he gets called
goes-
into work.
yeah,
but
Bruce
they,
goes to work.
and then they go get supplies to make a cake or something.
Yeah, and then this is one of my least favorite Mike Epps uses. Well, it's one of the three.
Oh,
One of
this
the
is
three uses?
this comes later. First, let's talk about the scene in the kitchen
Yeah.
with all
Oh goodness gracious!
Well,
I have a whole
first of
thing
all,
of kitchen
the-
stuff.
So they're like, "Oh, let's make him a cake while he's at work. We'll surprise him." And she's like, "We can just go buy a cake and tell him we made it." And it's just a whole bunch of dialogue I don't care about.
Yeah.
Which they're talking about after they've already bought the ingredients.
Yeah,
Yeah, let's just throw all this in the trash and go buy a cake because we got money like that. But so the way things start going wrong is she's looking at this recipe for a cake in a book, and then the page like moves on its own.
Yeah.
And
she
she's
like
like,
turns briefly.
she was
When
like,
she
wait.
comes back.
She was
it's
like, wait a minute.
previous.
So this isn't the page I was on. This is a different cake. I don't like this cake. So I need to go back to the other cake. So she flips the page, and the page flips back. She's like, something fishy is going on here. She turns around, and the window's cracked. And so you'd think that she just saw the Grim Reaper himself, that
Yeah.
the window's cracked.
You forgot to mention that she sent the daughter to the room to go get the iPad. That's why she's not present while all
Oh,
this
yeah.
is going
Yeah.
on.
She's like, go upstairs and get my
And then
iPad.
what's the daughter's name?
Jordan.
Yeah, Jordan. And then she starts yelling. She's like, "Jordan, get down here!"
Yeah, because the window's cracked. And then she sees like muddy footprints, and it hits the weirdest rise you've ever heard in your life.
Yeah.
This like weird stinger. It's like, oh, not the footprints. But then it pans back out, and you see this dude in a ski mask, and she's like, "Jordan, get down here! Jordan, get down here!"
Yeah, and then they
She's
cut
like,
to the
"Gosh, Mom, I'm killing."
they cut to the scene of like the bathroom glass where you can see like the shadow standing behind it, but you can't see any of the
Oh.
features.
What was it? What happens in that scene? There's like there's two parts. You think, oh, no, it's at the end.
Yeah.
The end where he's hiding in the, it's like, oh, maybe he's under the bed.
Yeah.
Oh, maybe he's in the bathroom.
Yeah.
And then but that's later on.
But okay, even just looking at that scene by itself, it's real clustery
Yeah.
because
Yeah.
the kitchen is so well lit, and then it's like the walk there. They never turned a single solitary light on
No.
in this house.
They just
So
leave their kitchen
yeah,
light
so
on.
she notices the window thing, and then she walks over to the window to close it and snap lock it like she's freaking out about it. And then, like, I don't know, it's just so stupid. And then she sees the footprints, but they're in, like, the line of sight where she walked literally right through the
Yeah.
footprints.
But and then something else. Well, first of all, were they in the house when they got there, or were they?
Yeah.
Or were they just around?
Yeah,
That's a
because
good
they
question.
definitely would have seen them.
Yeah.
But then something else is when her daughter's upstairs looking for this iPad, and then as she's walking back downstairs, a guy grabs her from behind, which whatever. But then, why tell us about the Krav Maga she's been doing? For
Right.
like
Yeah.
like 6, because isn't that what they train you for when someone gets you in a headlock from behind?
Yeah.
It's like the first position they train you, and she just starts screaming and like just wiggling all around. Like you don't know any like moves, like elbow him in the ribs.
Yeah,
She's a brown belt. I mean,
and then and then also
So, nah, I skipped that day.
and then also that falls back to the alarm thing.
Yeah.
They live
No.
in this multi-million-dollar home,
Yeah.
and they leave. There's not a window buzzer. You're telling me that ADT never hit your phone up and was like, "Hey, there's a bunch of strange fellas in weird masks in your home." Like, you don't have one security camera.
No.
No.
All that money, you don't use your alarm system.
Yeah.
come on now. They're white people in rural Chicago. How bad can it be?
Right.
That's
Yeah.
true.
How
Nothing-
much danger is in Chicago? There can't be that.
Oh, that's right. Violence in
Chicago's the safest city in America.
Yeah.
And then what? Oh,
And
and then they're struggling, and then all of a sudden, one of them, like I guess it kind of makes sense, but one of them just gets real rapey. out of
Yeah, I
nowhere.
Yeah,
always
they-
hate
they
that.
push her
There's
down
always
the-
one that has to be real
Oh,
rapey.
that's
Yeah.
that's in any like
Yeah.
people take
But
like a
then
hostage
there's
or
the-
something. There's
then
always that one guy that's like, "Ooh,
So-
you're pretty hot. Let me get some. Let me get
So
some."
there's three guys break into the house. 2 of them are with the daughter, which I don't know if I agree with that, because she probably just needs one person, but I guess.
Yeah.
So, and then the other one takes the mom upstairs to get to the safe. So, one of the 2 guys with the daughter tells the other one to go get some rope, which I don't know.
Yeah.
And then he's like, "Where would rope be?" And he's like, "Check the garage. I don't know."
Yeah.
And
So
instead
this-
of going straight to the garage, he's checking the fucking cupboard in the
Yeah,
kitchen.
he's just
Yeah.
looking
It's
everywhere
like,
for
where's
some
the rope, girl?
He goes,
It's
"Where?"
a
where oh, I forgot he said that. Like, he yelled at her, like, "You guys don't have enough rope in your home. Like, get out of here."
Motherfucker, I don't have rope in my home.
Where do you
Right.
guys keep your spare rope? But then he goes off looking for rope. So this other
Meanwhile,
guy,
the mom's finger fucking the safe.
And leaving
yeah.
rapey with the daughter.
she goes full Parkinson's trying to open this safe. And
Damn.
She does. It looked like Michael J. Fox was in there.
it did. It was like, that's not even me trying to be funny.
But shout out to Michael J. Fox, we love you.
like,
you know?
I get when you're held at gunpoint, you get scared. But she's like, it's ridiculous.
Yeah.
Like, come on. But then, downstairs, while that guy's looking for rope, the other guy's just like being the rapiest he can
Yeah,
be.
he's like, "No, just sit still." And he's like running out
He's
of
like, I just
breath.
need a minute.
I got a question though. Like, if you're going to someone's house, like, I don't know, rob them or anything, wouldn't you bring something to secure them?
Right.
Like, why would you
I
like
don't
depend on them?
think, I don't think
They,
they planned on
and,
that.
I think they got some zip ties near the knives
back
and
at
stuff.
the valet scene, they were talking about going out to dinner that night.
Yeah,
before
I don't think-
And that's
his
why.
birthday.
I don't
That's
think-
why they broke in on that
But since
specific
he got
night.
called into work, the 2
So-
were home.
But then he says, okay, before he brings the mom upstairs, he's like, as long as you listen to us, we're not going to hurt you.
Yeah,
Which I was like, they're not going to listen just because I know they look real dumb.
they're dumb white people. Yeah.
They are.
Yeah.
All white people are dumb.
Easy.
That's a different podcast.
yeah.
But, okay, so what happens? She gets thrown on the ground because she
Oh.
like headbutts him for trying to rape her or something.
Side note: can we get an NAACP sponsor off?
I'll try
Thank
my
you.
best. But what does she do? The daughter like headbutts the guy trying to rape her or
She-
something.
Well, no, she snags the knife, right? And then
no,
she's,
no, no. The
Oh,
one,
she cuts his face because
Yeah.
there's a knife on the counter.
Yeah, the rapey guy puts the knife down on the counter, and then
Which he's
I
the
don't
worst
know,
criminal ever.
and I don't know where his gun goes after that because no one has a gun but the leader after that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And then I think she headbutts him, or no, she headbutts
She cuts
the
him
one
because he has that
Yeah,
scar
she
that heals
headbutts
in
the
a
guy
week.
behind her because he's about to tie up her hands, and
Yeah.
then she grabs a knife,
And then
slashes
she
his
gets on the
face.
ground, where she gets knocked down after that, and then the mom decides now's the perfect time to stomp on his foot and throw lukewarm water in his face.
Yeah, this lukewarm water that has been on the stove no more than 3 minutes.
No, because it's like as soon as they get in the house,
Yeah.
they realize
Well,
there's
I mean,
other people.
it depends on what kind of stove you have. If you have a gas stove, it can heat faster. But if you have that shitty electricity one, I mean, that's gonna take
Well,
about
But
15
granted,
minutes.
regardless.
this water was not boiling.
I'm just saying the shot of her sloshing water in his face was low key beautiful. Like
It
Was.
Is that the only good thing you had to say about the film so far?
No.
so far, yeah.
I think we're only.
It's just
I
I
don't
think
know.
we're only 15 minutes into the movie.
Yeah, this is
right
only
now.
this isn't very deep.
dude, we're not. No, but then
It gets more ridiculous.
okay, so then you get like a wide shot of the house, and then you can hear 2 gunshots, and then we cut to Bruce Willis doing surgery. What
More
Bruce
surgery,
Willis does, Because that's all he does.
What
is
a
surgery and sit at his desk in his office. That's all he does. And then so they you hear over the loudspeakers like female 19, female 43 brought in or whatever. And so he's just like, whatever. That's the same age as my wife and daughter, but I'm not worried about it. And then what does he do? He comes. He thinks that they need him for the surgery.
Yeah, they call him over the. They're
so
like,
he starts walking, and then this is like when I knew from here on out this movie's gonna be completely awful. They're like, who'd be the best actor in the world to tell Bruce Willis that his family's dead?
Mike
Epps.
Epps.
Mike Epps. And then they're just like real vague, and they're talking about like, oh, well, and then they cut to a Y, and there's no audio, so you don't know like who's dead, who's not dead.
Yeah.
And then they're like, we trying to save your wife, but she's and then she gets shot. What did they say? She gets shot in the chest or something.
She gets shot. It's kind of low, but they say in the chest. It looked like she got shot in the gut from the
from the
sheet. Being
Well,
over.
yeah, they have the sheet over, but there's just the one blood stain that's on the sheet is like mid abdomen.
But
like
she said they got shot in the heart.
Yeah,
so that's just
okay, and then
mistakable, but it's okay.
So then he goes to see her with the sheet. She's got a sheet pulled over her face.
Black eyes.
And then he moves the sheet. Yeah, he moves the sheet. And then he does the classic Bruce Willis, this blank face, like, oh no, not my wife.
Oh, he didn't cry like hostage?
No, but when they pull the sheet back, you see her face. She looks like she's been dead for days.
Oh, and her
like
eyes,
she's starting to purple. Her
eyes are
black.
swollen.
Yeah, they're swollen.
Like I thought she just got shot, but apparently they also Chris Browned her.
Right. Apparently, she was also trying to crawl out of Chris Brown's Lamborghini. Yeah. He was just throwing Chuck Liddell overhand rights at her. She was trying to crawl out.
And then he's like, "But wait, there's more."
But wait, there's more.
And he's like, "I have a daughter. What's up with her?" And they're like, "She in a coma. You can go see her."
Yeah, and she took a fucking gunshot to the head, is what they said.
Yeah. She takes a gunshot wound to the head.
I mean, not trying to defend Eli Roth because...
Don't.
I know,
because he looks like Tiny Lou Ferrigno. That's what.
But anyways, I mean, there's been people that have survived gunshots.
Oh, yeah.
I mean, but
undoubtedly.
But like 90%, like 94%.
But her in a coma shouldn't look the same as her mother who's been dead.
Yeah.
Like their makeup, whoever did their makeup, they're exactly the same person.
Also, this prosthetic neck later in the movie,
oh,
but we're not going to get there. But okay,
so
Michael's
cringe voice of
it's bad. It's real bad.
Oh, God.
But so after he sees his daughter and everything, he's sitting in his office with his brother and two of the worst detectives I've ever seen in any movie in the history of
terrible.
What's his name? From Breaking Bad.
Dean Norris.
He also played an over.
Was it like Agent Schrader?
Hank Schrader. Yeah,
Hank Schrader.
He looks like a Hank.
He does, but he's like we'll talk more about him later. But he's like, do you know who could have done this? They're like, no, we're white and we live in a nice part of Chicago. Yeah. We have no idea who did this. But then something that pisses me off is Bruce Willis's brother is angrier than he is.
Yeah,
so angry.
So he's like they're talking about a string of break-ins. He's like, we think it could be involved with that. And he's like, you think? He said, go find the person who did this. And then Bruce Willis is like, Frank, you're not helping. And he's supposed to be sad, but also he looks like he's just like, it's inconveniencing him.
He looks like he's contemplating what he's supposed to think of this situation.
Yeah.
He's like,
he's like, I want to put her up for adoption? Is it too late for that?
Will she be the vegetable I want her to be?
What if his brothers really get mad because, like, what if, like, in an alternate reality, like, the mother and, like, daughter that really died was actually his wife and his daughter, and Bruce Willis is, like, actually uncle, and it's like
might have improved the movie.
This is the Shyamalan twist.
Shyamalan makes an appearance.
Shyamalan twist. It's not Bruce Willis's daughter. It's Vincent D'Onofrio, and that's why he's so close to the family.
And there'll be definitely more podcasts about M. Night Shyamalan. Let me tell you.
Shyamalan.
And then what's after Bruce Willis pretending to be sad?
Yeah.
Is it that montage? No.
It's the montage of him being sad, yeah.
Is there a montage of him being sad?
No, he goes to Texas to bury
his wife. He goes to Texas.
So he
with
goes...
fucking Colonel Sanders for some reason, which I don't understand.
Oh, God.
So look.
It's about to get out of hand.
So look, I guess his wife was prepared to die or something. He's like, she wanted to be buried in
Because
Texas.
when you're old and white, you figure out what you want.
Yeah.
Her
so
her mom's
so her
buried there.
parents-
She's
her-
like, I wanted to be buried with
She's
Mom.
43,
Yeah,
not
so-
86.
Exactly.
So, okay, his wife said that she wants to be buried in Texas with the rest of her family. So Bruce Willis goes down to Texas and buries her. And after the funeral, they're riding in her dad's, Bruce Willis's wife's dad's truck.
Which I also have a
So
comment
Bruce
about that real
Willis's
quick.
father-in-law.
When they're just
Yeah.
driving away from the funeral, he goes, what does he say? He goes, oh, the dad goes, I'll be buried there too. And then he goes, there's always a spot for you
Which
here
is a
too."
really morbid offer.
Right. So you just
Yeah.
offered
He'd
him
be like,
to be
hey, if you ever feel like dying, I got
right.
you.
Hey, if you ever want to put your
It's
carcass next to my carcass,
It's a
that's
very,
cool with me.
It's a very
I keep
dark.
saying-
And it
But
didn't
then
look like
again-
there was any more close
But
family.
then again, he,
No.
is,
to
he is a
confirm that.
surgeon. I mean,
And-
he has
but-
probably dealt with death many times.
But
on
here's
the
the
job,
thing.
so.
Okay.
But yeah, it's your family member.
What's Bruce Willis's character's
Like
name?
if I went
This is
upstairs
a-
right now.
This sounds bad.
His name is Paul
Paul,
Kersey.
that's his name.
Paul,
So
yeah.
I'll just say Paul from now on, because I couldn't
Yeah.
remember his name for the life of me, because I don't
Oh,
care.
I had to Google.
Because I don't care.
I had to
But
Google.
so they're riding along, Paul and Paul's father-in-law.
Can we just call him Paul?
So
and
Bruce
Paul?
Willis's
So
name
Paul
is
and-
Paul in this movie?
Yeah,
Paul.
Good
Paul
Lord.
and his Paul-in-law are driving, and
Holy
so they're
shit.
driving. I don't remember what they're talking about. It's not important. And then all of a sudden he slams on the brakes, and he's like, "Oh!" And then they drive through a field.
Which by the way, there was a lot of tall grass there. I don't
Yeah,
know how he saw.
There's
what
no way he saw. But
Yeah.
he drives up, and there's poachers killing this deer. It's not even dead. They're just like cutting into it. And he gets out with like a bolt action rifle, and he's just taking shots at these guys. He's like, sometimes you got to take the law into your own hands.
Yeah, he takes the most Clint Eastwood approach to getting
And-
rid of poachers. He's just like,
Yeah. And
But as
meanwhile,
you can see, though, it worked.
It
But-
did not look like he was
No,
giving
okay.
any warning shots.
Oh,
He was
no,
just
not at all.
blasting.
just to let you know, he doesn't hit anybody with this
He
rifle.
does not.
no.
So
He
and
hits
then
one thing.
so while he's doing this, Bruce Willis slowly gets out of the car, and he's like, maybe I need to start killing gangbangers.
Yeah, like
Yeah.
you could see it in his face.
Yeah.
He's like,
So then
So he
gets,
goes full Clint Eastwood. So
Yeah,
he's-
so-
Well, yeah,
he's
but-
like targeting.
But you
them.
can see this is where he has this like epiphany where maybe like when he says like, oh, but maybe you should take the law into your own hand. He has that thought where he's like, maybe he's right, you know.
So let me get this straight.
You know,
He took
Colonel
all-
Sanders.
He took all the smarts from being this perfect surgeon, have a perfect life. His family just gets, fucked up. and
it's
all of a
not
sudden,
perfect smarts because they never set the alarm.
That's also true.
yeah.
But yeah, he
Almost
just-
perfect.
And the
he
daughter,
just-
God forbid, she used her Krav Maga
So
lessons.
he's
Yeah.
trading out the white jacket for a fucking straight jacket, pretty much.
Yeah, but like
Pretty
Colonel
much.
Sanders is just giving him this epiphany
But-
that he should just murder
Okay,
for.
what's after that? Is it where he goes to try and buy a gun?
He
legally?
goes, yeah, he goes.
He, like, sees it on
He
TV.
sees the
He
commercial,
sees this commercial for the girl on TV, and she's like, "Come on down."
which I don't know about you all, but I've never watched a commercial, looked at it, been like, you know what, I'm gonna go to that store tomorrow, and then
Yeah.
when I go into that store,
And then the person in the
exact
commercial-
person from the commercial
It's
comes
like
up to me and goes,
it's like they
"Hey,
didn't
you
have
buy
enough
some?"
money.
Yeah, exactly. You know exactly what it reminds me of? You ever seen that episode of Rick and Morty where they go to a different planet and they're watching TV shows on TV? It's like intergalactic TV. And there's all these like super ridiculous commercials. That's what it is.
It's
No, he went like really
I think
Andy
there's
Griffin
even-
on it though.
But I think there's even like a fade transition on her face, isn't there? Where it just goes from like her face in the commercial to her face in real life.
Yeah, there is.
I think
or
it
something
does,
like
yeah.
that.
Or
And then,
it fades into him walking into the gun store and then she's just like, hey, howdy,
Well,
howdy.
it's
Oh,
not
yeah.
a gun store. It's
It's
a
a
sporting
sporting
goods
goods
store
store.
that just happens to look like a gun store only.
Yeah,
it just
except-
happens to only
just-
carry guns.
yeah, and then so he shows up, and he's not even. There's a scene or a shot from the trailer where she goes, "How can I help you?" And he goes, "I want to buy a gun." That's not even until like the last 20 minutes of the movie.
Yeah.
He walks in, he just starts asking questions, and she's like, "Yeah, it'll take like 72 hours." To
She
get a
says
gun."
there's specifically she says there's a bunch of paperwork, and then after all the paperwork goes through, it'll be 72 hours, and
Yeah.
then he can get his gun.
She also says you'll be locked. What was it? Locked, cocked, and ready to rock.
You're cocked, locked, and ready to rock.
I'll say.
Yeah, I
locked,
think that's what
cocked,
she
and ready
said.
to
And
rock.
I was like, that's so dumb.
And my
Yeah.
thing
But-
is too, like I know this is called a sporting goods store, but let's face it, what's really in Texas to really like play sports?
No, he's back in Chicago at this
Oh.
point.
Yeah.
Yeah, he's in
a
Chicago.
sports store.
Yeah, and it's just full of firearms.
So-
Literally,
so-
he walks in. It's just like this. Like they just show like the far right of this store, and from wall to wall,
It's just
guns.
like-
yeah,
yeah,
and
it's
she's
just
like,
guns.
"Well, these are our rifles, and these are our
So-
shotguns, and these are our used guns." And she's like, "But not used to kill people." Ha 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 ha.
Shut up.
No, I swear.
But this is even dumber. All right. So he looks at the process for all this, and I guess What is it? Like, he just doesn't want to wait that long or something?
I
But
think so.
But he
yeah.
doesn't get a gun from this store, even though he could buy any and every gun in that whole store.
So the commercial on him walking into the store really have no.
No, it has, like, except for the fact that he
Other
doesn't...
than they play into
Other than to call back
the
to it
ending
later.
not making any fucking
Yeah, but
sense.
he could have just
But-
went into a
but-
gun store later.
But, okay, so... But this is the dumb thing. So he's at work, doing surgery, and they bring in this guy, and it turns out to be the valet that took the picture.
No, that was later.
Was
That's
it later?
like- yeah.
Who?
It-
Oh no,
this
this
is
is just a
just a
random
separate
gangbanger.
gangbanger.
Yeah,
It
just
was just some
gangbanger.
random gangbanger, and he just happens to drop a Glock on the ground in the middle of like the operating room.
And he
And-
just kicks it
And
under
no
the.
one hears
He's
it.
like,
He
"Ooh."
just pushes it
Yeah.
under.
Who's like,
No one hears a full size
Question:
Glock.
What kind of hospital doesn't have metal detectors?
Chicago.
Well, they took him in like
That's
like,
what I'm
on a, like
learning.
he was
If
like he
any
was a
hospital
gunshot
should have
wound.
metal
Like
detectors,
I
in
can
Chicago.
understand him having a.
So the paramedics didn't check for anything. Well,
No.
that's like number one job.
So
thing
he's-
to do.
But
Like-
here's something else that's dumb. Doesn't he have like a sheet over him? And I know for sure he's strapped in.
Yeah, it gets caught like in a
Yeah.
sheet, like
And then it
falling
falls down,
down.
and he kicks it under this gurney or
Yeah,
whatever.
the hospital bed.
And then they wheel him out, and then everyone leaves the room but him, and there's just a Glock on the middle of
And
the
he
floor.
just picks
And he
it
doesn't
up.
even wait until he doesn't even stop in the middle of the room, put it in his pants, and go. He's stuffing it in his pants as he's walking into the hallway.
Yeah.
So he just turns the corner. The Glock's in his hand, and then he just got lucky. Like he just took a chance. Like maybe a gangbanger get wheeled in. I
I'm
can
just
steal
gonna point
his
that
gun.
out there. Like, I'm not like an expert or like guns dropping, but I'm pretty sure if a gun hit any like type of floor, it's gonna make a loud sound. It's
Well,
metal
yeah,
to the floor.
and
'Cause
they do it when they're lifting him off of the stretcher onto the bed is when the
Oh
gun
my
starts
God.
to slip, and they show like the teeter totter out of the pocket. They get like caught in the sheet and then hit the floor.
So not only are the paramedics the worst at searching things when they take them in, they're also just overall terrible at their job.
Yeah,
Yeah.
pretty much.
And
So-
then- so
But
Very
who
Eli
knows?
Roth.
Maybe surgeons in Chicago just stay strapped.
I don't know.
Maybe like shit pops off here. I'm gonna be prepared.
So next isn't it the street sign?
Next is the street sign where he's
So
practicing. with it.
okay, so this is how Bruce Willis learns how to be the new Clint Eastwood or something. He's like, you know what? I could go to a shooting range and actually learn how to hit targets and shoot properly, but instead I'm gonna go on YouTube and just kind of like get the gist of how to disassemble a Glock. And then he starts shooting this like detour sign, and I don't even know where it is.
Yeah,
but someone's
it looks
got
like
it
he's
here.
It's
locked in a
indoors.
shipping container almost.
Yeah. It's indoors, but there's a street sign that maybe he stole it. I don't know.
Because it's clear,
All of a sudden, Bruce Willis is a badass. Maybe he's stealing street signs now.
and it's also clearly metal because when he fires the gun for the first time, he pretty much just picks it up and lets one go.
Yeah,
Like he
just
doesn't
starts
aim it,
ricocheting
and the
all
bullet
over the
starts
place.
bouncing all over whatever contraption they're inside.
It
of.
ricochets back at him, which is
Yeah.
just straight stupid.
It's bullshit.
So, and then
Absolute
he starts. And it's this montage of him learning how to shoot a gun, and
Set
he gets
over
better.
Back in Black by AC/DC.
Set over Back in Black that takes place over like maybe 4 days at most.
Yeah.
But it's also intercut with just random scenes of him doing his job. It's
Yeah.
like, okay, are we supposed? Is he
Oh,
supposed
and
to?
going to therapy. He's also going to therapy.
Well, it's probably giving you that like
There's the-
by day he's like the
Yeah,
surgeon, but
he's-
by night
he's-
he's
he's
hitting
like-
the street sign as
yeah,
fucking
he's training
terribly
to
as
be
possible.
Deadshot.
He's like,
Yeah,
Deadshot, but
he's
minus
missing
accuracy.
quite a bit.
He goes to therapy and he's like, I'm not sleeping too good. And he's like, well, that's to be expected. He's like, yeah, his wife just died and his daughter's still in a coma.
Okay.
And he
Depression.
doesn't, like, there's not like a whole bunch of shots of him, like, around his daughter.
No.
Like, he'll be like, I'll be back to read later. But we never really see him reading. And then her friend comes in and he's just being weird. Like
Yeah.
Bruce Willis
Oh yeah,
is.
and then she's like, "Well, we were gonna go to college and whatever, and this is on the summer reading list, and I
Yeah.
just didn't want her to fall behind." Like this half lifeless bitch did not understand.
She's reading like like quantum
Yeah.
mathematics or something. Like
We
something
It's,
also
I think it's
gotta
ridiculous.
think-
economics.
We also
Yeah,
gotta
quantum
think,
economics.
we also got to think though. He's an old school male. He's like, he just saw his
But
little family die. He's not gonna show emotion. He's
here's
like,
the
I'm
thing.
gonna be a hard ass. I'm gonna learn how to shoot this Glock. And I'm
But
gonna
he's
Like,
not.
bend
okay,
hard.
this-
But they
this-
proved that he's a pussy.
But here's the
He
thing.
is
This,
a
this
pussy.
this might just be me. But the scene where he goes into the hospital, his daughter's hospital room, and her friend's there. He's just being like real creepy and a little bit rapey.
Right, like he's
Like,
like,
he,
he
he's like,
does,
no,
yeah.
it's fine if you stay. I want you
right
to
because
stay.
I mean, like she's asleep anyways. If we get it on
Yeah,
right here,
like okay, if
She's
you
not
if
gonna
you,
know.
if you
Yeah,
just
he
read it
doesn't-
if you just read it in the screenplay, it's probably like, oh, he's just glad his daughter has a friend. But the way he's saying it,
He's
it's just
like-
like real weird.
yeah, I
He
just
just
feel
walked
like,
in. He's like, "No, don't go. You can."
No, don't go. Well, also
Read
Bruce
through.
Willis, this whole movie has one facial expression.
yeah,
It's
then
the same facial expression that every
Okay,
Bruce
so-
Willis
Except for the
made.
one smile.
so what is it? Is it
When was
after? Is it
At
after?
therapy. Remember?
Oh yeah, when he's like, yeah, it's working.
Is it after the street sign that he goes just like becomes the Reaper?
He goes and he finds that. Well, first even before he gets the gun, he finds a prostitute getting, I think, beat by a pimp, and
Oh yeah,
He tries to
he
stop
goes,
it.
hey,
he tries to stop
no,
it.
no, it's not even a pimp. They're just two dudes talking
yeah,
to some
that's
girl. They're like, "What's up, baby? I'm trying to rape you."
Yeah,
She's like, "No, please don't."
I think that's
And-
the
and
actual
then-
dialogue.
Yeah, and then,
Hey, what that mouth do is exactly.
I think mine's a little bit better, but we'll move on from that. So, and then Bruce Willis is like patrolling the streets for some reason because he's Bruce Willis. What else would he do at night?
I mean,
And he sees these two guys. Both of them are like easily bigger than him. And he goes, "Hey," and that's all he says. He's like, "Hey," and they're like,
Hey.
"Yeah." And then they turn around and they're like, "What's up, SC?" And that's pretty much what their accents sound like.
Well,
What's up, SC?
That shows the cultural diversity of
Chicago.
Chicago.
Yeah, I'm pretty
There's
sure.
just like this real like white guy who's just like Kevin Federline,
Yeah,
and then there's like also like Machete, which is like,
It's not-
which is
I'm gonna go with
but-
such a
Kevin
weird
Federline.
Here's the thing.
combination.
It's like
Like
it's,
what
it's
gang
like,
are you both in?
It's like they didn't even bother to get someone who might have been an actual gang. They got like just some random dude who looked a little bit Mexican. They're like, "Can you do a Mexican accent?" And he's like,
Yep.
"Oh, law." And they're like, "Yeah, let's just throw him in the movie."
That'll work.
And then so he yells at them. They turn around, and the girl that they were talking to just turns around and sprints. Like, "Oh, mission accomplished, Bruce." And then they're like, they walk up to him. They start making fun of him. They punch him in the stomach and kick him a whole bunch. Like, "Ha, Bruce Willis is a bitch." And that's just kind of like the whole
He got his
scene.
ass kicked.
Oh yeah.
Oh, he
dude,
gets the
he
shit
never
beat
even
out of
throws a punch.
No, he's
I
down
think-
after the first
I think
punch.
one guy
But the
kicks
uncle
him in the
says that he's
ribs
a
about
scrapper.
12 times.
Oh.
Apparently, his uncle never
But-
went to one of his
okay,
boxing matches.
So,
Right.
so
But then it's the carjacking.
oh god.
When
okay,
he
so
becomes the Reaper.
then he's
This sounds
out he's out
interesting.
patrolling. I don't even know why, because
He's just out.
it starts out as him just murdering people, and then it goes to him going after the people that killed his wife. I think.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So he's walking around, and then he sees the carjacking. These people they're starting to get there. It's like a big Escalade. They're trying to take
Yeah.
it. It's in the trailer, and then he
The whole movie's in the tree.
the whole movie's in the trailer.
Yeah.
Spoiler
but-
alert, guys.
Spoiler alert, watch the trailer. But then he, so they jack the car and then they start driving. And then he's like, "Hey." And he starts shooting at him with his left hand, which is very important in the movie for some reason.
Yeah. And
And
the
then-
slide comes back.
Yeah, and the slide cuts his
his
hand.
hand.
But it doesn't just cut his hand, it destroys his hand.
Oh, dude.
Yeah.
And he somehow, like, it never comes up
No,
until the
it's-
very end of the
how does
movie. Like, they make it out to be important.
And his
Good
shots into the Escalade to stop the
Yeah.
carjackers
So
gets
he
the
shoots-
driver like on first shot.
Yeah.
Yeah, and then
He
So-
fires like 2 shots, laying on his back. By the way, at this point,
the first
he's like-
one, because he shoots them, and then they shoot back, and they like hit his gun,
yeah.
and then he falls down, and then he shoots them some more.
I mean,
But he hits the guy who's in the driver's seat in the throat, and the prosthetic on his
Wait,
neck.
I want to talk about that here in a second, but because the Escalade crashes into the pole.
Yeah,
It cuts to the which is apparently a bar, which is a big deal later on in the movie, which
Yeah.
doesn't look like a bar at all.
no, it's not a
Does
bar.
not.
It's
So-
an empty area that you can rent.
Yeah,
It
this
hasn't been
this
rented out
lady
yet.
is filming from the bar window on her phone, which is
on it. Like maybe let's say it's an iPhone, like an iPhone.
I think it was.
which has a decent camera. It does not have the camera that they were showing the detective.
no. It
No.
looks like she shot this on like a Black Magic Pocket Cinema. Like she shot it on like a $900 camera.
Yeah, he was like perfect footage, and then he zooms in on the video when she's showing it to him.
Yeah.
but we'll get to that.
So Bruce Willis gets up. He walks over to the Escalade. The girl gets out. And she's like all freaking out. And he's like, "Go, go!" And so he takes off running. He walks over to the window.
No, first the guy's on the ground. There's a guy on the ground, and he walks up and just caps him in the face like it's
Oh,
nothing.
yeah.
He's like, "I'm Bruce Willis." He's like, "I used to be a doctor.
He's like,
now
"You've
I murder people."
You've seen Expendables. You know how this goes. And then he lets one
blows
go.
his face apart. Then he walks up to the window, and this is the first guy that he shot. He's got a prosthetic on his throat because he got shot in the throat, and it's oh my god, it's so bad. It's probably like the size of like a festive squash.
Yeah, like it looks like
Yeah.
someone like that gum that looks like loose leaf tobacco that you chew. What's a Big League Chew?
yeah.
It looks like someone chewed a whole pack of Big League Chew, and then they just mushed it all on there, and then they airbrushed it brown, and then they just started dropping a little red in it. It's just mush.
It,
I got
it's-
a
It doesn't
question,
make
though.
any sense.
Do they use like really cheesy sound points, like like Quentin Tarantino? Whenever like he in Kill Bill 2, where she hits the back of her head,
Hold
and it
on.
sounds like
Hold on. We'll get to it.
Well,
we'll get to
there's
it.
trust me,
one that
we have
we-
one scene
that we
we'll get to
distinctly
it.
remember.
We'll get to it.
that's the one point of the movie where I almost walked out. But
Yeah,
we will.
there
get
is
to
a
that.
point.
because like there's some
Where
movies
I
that
know.
nail it and like it's
No.
funny.
Okay.
No,
Here,
trust
I'll
me,
say
this
this.
is what
That
they
movie.
did.
Oh,
This is not
I'll
that
say
movie.
this. I'll say this. He doesn't nail it. Not even close.
Is it like the worst thing ever?
You could almost say it was a
Here,
strike.
you'll understand when we talk about
Oh no.
Anyways, we'll get.
what's next.
The next scene after that is, I think it's just more of him talking to his therapist, and then when she's like, "Oh well, whatever you're doing, it seems to be working out for you."
And that's the
Is
most.
that the next scene? I thought it was later.
I think she does it then. I don't
Because
really
I think he's
remember.
been capping people for a hot minute.
Yeah, you're right.
Because he
So-
kept somebody else, right?
You're right. He does
Yeah.
end up.
No,
getting
who's the
somebody.
next person?
He gets the next one is the ice cream man.
Okay, yeah. So
Oh, Lord have
how he
mercy.
finds him is stupid. So he goes.
He's at work.
Yeah,
He's
he's
at
at
work.
work. This kid comes in who's like, oh, he's got a gunshot wound in his leg,
Which-
and this kid is fine. Like,
Yeah,
he
honestly, they could have just said that he fell and scraped his leg. 'Cause
Yeah.
That's what it looked like.
The,
Yeah.
the story was that he was walking to school and he got caught up in some crossfire and he got
no,
struck.
it wasn't
with a bullet.
crossfire. He asked him. He's like, did you get caught in some crossfire? He's like, nah, the ice cream man. He's like, what? And he's like, this is what happens when you don't sell for the ice cream man. He's like, you can't walk to school. And he's like, ice cream man, you say?
Yeah, and then the kid says, "Yeah, ice cream
Yeah.
man said next time he gonna aim a little higher."
Yeah.
He hit him like in his fucking ankle.
Right, so a little higher would have just been like
anywhere's
the
higher.
calf.
Yeah.
So
He's still living from this.
So-
But,
Ice cream man
but-
sounds real generous. Like if I got shot in the ankle first, I'd be really like I'd sell that more shit.
Thank you, Mr.
I'd be
Ice
like,
Cream
I'd
Man.
be like, "What the fuck y'all want to buy?" Fuck.
Bruce
But-
Willis goes on to break
Hold
every
on.
HIPAA law ever
Oh god.
and gets the address
Hold
off
on.
this kid's
First,
charts.
I just want to say
Yeah.
they have the most meaningless conversation about LeBron James.
Oh
and
my God.
Michael
They do.
Jordan.
They do.
It's not really important,
And
but
it's all because the kid is writing on
Yeah.
a Cavaliers.
It's like a-
fucking
it's like
That
a
is
calendar
that
or
is such a stereotypical thing.
he's like, "Oh, you a LeBron fan?" The kid's like,
oh
"I guess."
no.
Yeah.
But and he's like,
There's very like
I
stereotypical.
know what I want to
stuff.
say before we get to the ice cream man. They cut to Sway talking at one after.
"Oh
his
yeah," they
first
talk about the
killing.
footage. Oh, we forgot to talk about when the detective's in the bar. And
Yeah,
so,
the detectives.
So they're in the bar, and then this lady's like, "I caught him on camera," which is the best camera ever. And he's like, "I
Best.
caught him on camera," and they show the Detective Hank Schrader from Breaking Bad,
and then Detective Tiny Whoopi Goldberg.
His name's Detective Rains
So,
in this
like-
movie.
I
Look
don't
at this
care.
straight.
It
You
doesn't
wanna know?
matter.
This shitty bar. Let me
He
tell
goes,
you
"Did you want to
So
know?"
this like shit bar or whatever
No,
it is.
you don't even get like the fact that it's a bar is not really important.
Oh,
It's
no,
just-
I'm talking
it's
about like
just-
the camera though, the camera quality. How is that bar gonna have better cameras than Bruce Willis?
No,
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 it's
it's
on her
some
phone.
lady
It's her
on
phone.
her phone.
Oh, okay.
She
But-
shoots a
she-
4K cell
So
phone
they're
footage.
looking at it, and they're like, he looks, he's like, he got hit in the hand. You can tell he doesn't know how to shoot because
Yeah.
the slide caught his hand. And then he's like, oh, but he's left-handed. He's just pointing out all this stupid stuff.
Which
And then
the left-handed thing, I don't even. No, he didn't realize the left-handed thing then.
No, it doesn't.
He's just like, oh, the slide
Yeah, because
came
he
back
makes the connection at.
yeah,
at Ice Cream Man.
at the ice cream man, right? And so he's looking at this phone, and he's like, you know, you can't post this anywhere. And she's like, I posted that online like 2 hours ago.
She goes, "Do you know how many
Yeah.
hits I've got?"
I've gotten so many hits. But then,
Yeah,
so
it's a little ridiculous.
so then back to Bruce Lee with this kid. He looks.
Did you say Bruce Lee?
He did say Bruce Lee.
Did I say Bruce Lee?
You
Bruce
did.
Willis. Bruce Willis with this kid. Paul.
Granted, I wish it was Bruce Lee.
I wish it was Bruce Lee.
Would have been infinitely better. Paul with this kid. So he looks at this document for this kid, looks up his address,
Yeah.
and then he's like, you know what? Just from this kid's address, I know exactly where the ice cream man is.
Yeah,
So-
finds him right away.
So then, okay, you know, they're like, oh, Bruce Willis is gonna like sneak in and like cap this guy when he's not looking. You're like, you know what? We know what a good time to kill a drug dealer is. Like 2:00 on a Wednesday
Broad
afternoon.
daylight,
Yeah.
Yeah.
So then it shows him.
Ice Cream Man sitting there talking to two guys.
Yeah, but first,
Two other guys.
Large fellas.
First.
Very large.
it's playing "Love Sosa" by Chief Keef, real loud.
Yeah. Oh yeah. That's what his walk-up song is.
Yeah, as Bruce Willis is walking towards this drug dealer,
No.
he's playing "Love Sosa."
And it starts at his fucking Asics, his hospital Asics, and just
Yep.
pans up to him in a hoodie.
Yeah, and then so it
Nice.
gets to this wide, where you can see the ice cream man, his little like ice cream box that he keeps his drugs in.
Hey, like, where did this man find a vintage ice cream box?
Probably eBay, but that's not important. And then there's like what, like I want to say there's even off camera, maybe like 8 people around him.
Oh yeah,
Yeah.
there's a lot on the
Like,
porch behind him.
In the frame, there's at least 4 people near him.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, no doubt.
So then Bruce Willis walks up and he goes, "You the ice cream man?" And then the ice cream man pulls out a solid gold gun and sets it on his lap like he's getting ready for something.
Yeah.
He's like, "Who wants to know?" Like, or he says, "Who are you?" Bruce Willis goes, "Your last customer." And then he just like out of his
Dude,
pocket.
Fucking
and empties,
quickest draw
empties
in
the
the West.
clip.
dude, and empties a Glock in like.
Few things about this though.
My thing is, this guy just learned how to shoot a gun, but he learns how to pull and just
And fire accurately hit every shot from the hip. Like he's
Yeah.
right, but like he's barely out of his jacket pocket.
Yeah,
Which
but-
how do you
but
stash
few-
a
a few
Glock in a
things.
hoodie pocket?
A few things.
When you go to John McClane's training center and
A
you
few-
learn how to shoot like a badass, that's how you learn.
A few things though. First of all, I think the ice cream man would have he probably wouldn't have shot first, but he would have at least got a shot off.
Oh yeah, he would have got.
Because it was on his lap, pointed real close to Bruce Willis. And then, I need to keep going there. I need to call him Paul. So pointed to Paul, and then the 4 people in the frame, and then a whole bunch of people who were out of the frame, all just run away.
They just run.
Yeah,
Like
instead,
no one else
instead
had
of
a gun.
shooting, like I get your instincts to run, but none of these guys around this drug dealer had a gun except the drug dealer.
I mean, both carjackers had a gun.
Yeah,
But
everyone
no
has
one
the-
else in
it's
that
Chicago.
scene had a gun.
Toddlers have a gun in Chicago.
Right.
That's very true.
So, and then he
Very
kills him.
dangerous.
And then Bruce Willis just walks away because he has the perfect cover of all these like crack addicts running and taking his drugs out of the ice cream box. And then
Yeah, I think there's even one guy going, "Hey, don't do that."
he's like, "Hey, no, don't take the drugs." But then
Hi, you stop that.
But then we get to where all the detectives are on the scene, and they're like, "Oh man, who capped this drug dealer in the middle of the day?" Because it's a real stupid thing to do. But then the detective Detective Hank Schrader is standing there, and he's just kind of like looking around, and then he sees the 2 kids. There's 2 kids by a couch that's in the middle of a field for some reason.
Which these people, this whole entire crowd
Yeah.
splits perfectly.
But- so that
Perfectly
he can see
split,
him.
so you see everything over there.
Yeah, and then these kids, they're reenacting the murder, which is what kids do.
And this kid, instead of using
Instead of
What's-
using his right hand,
what's
his dominant hand, he's
It's all,
using
it's all those
Bruce
violent video
Willis's
games
hand.
that you know
but no,
that Trump's
but
that's brought back into the thing since it's 1992 again. So we're
This-
playing, that's for a different story.
but
so.
this is something that's real dumb, and I want you to hear this. So this kid is reenacting the murder, and he shoots with his left hand. For some reason, which a kid would never do, because the
And-
kid's not going to notice that he shoots with his left hand.
Yeah, and they don't reenact it just one time. They play
No,
it like
they keep
6
doing it
times
over and
for
over
the
again.
detective.
And the
until he
detective's looking at
realizes,
this, and he's like,
Pull
Wait
up
a
that
minute
video.
now. And he's like, pull up the video, because they just have it on hand that quick. She pulls it up, and he goes, what hand is the shooter shooting with? Then look at the little kids, and they go, oh, you think it's the same guy? And then
What?
Whoa!
he's like, based off this little kid shooting across the
So they
street.
use this fucking like preschool, like not even preschool,
But-
but like elementary
okay,
school,
and then-
like play reenactment.
Yeah,
Plus this
but-
video camera.
at-
Like, oh my god, it's definitely the guy. We have to go after him.
But it's at this point that I kind of want to step away from the plot of the movie and just look at it in the sense that there's a whole bunch of intercut like radio show footage
Yeah.
of them talking about whether what he's doing is right, and it gets real like political.
Yeah, and a
talking
lot
about
of it is
guns.
a lot of it's based on race. That he's a knowingly white
Yeah.
man who's
Well,
gunning
the-
They
down
say
black
on Sway
people.
Show, he's like, you're okay with a white guy in a hoodie killing black people, and she goes, yeah, as long as they're drug dealers. And then it gets, you think it's gonna be like, oh, maybe this is gonna be a political statement, but
Right.
then it just kind of like doesn't go anywhere.
No, it just falls off. Like
And
none
then-
of it sticks.
And
at
then
all.
something else worth mentioning is releasing this movie now.
Oh,
like,
it
I-
was such a poor time.
Yeah, I guess like
It
I
was-
know it's a business and you can't keep pushing it back, but releasing it now
right, but
was one of the worst things. They
but
could've
we're
done.
just like are we a month out of the Florida shooting now?
Yeah, right now.
Wait,
A
and
little,
then,
a little over. It's been about 2 months.
There's actually an article I found that I'm not gonna read any of this, but it says just the title of the article was Eli Roth says Death Wish isn't pro gun and then the people were like, he must have seen a different movie than we did.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, if anything,
Because it was
pushes
not
gun.
anti-gun.
pro-gun.
It's
in
like,
any way.
oh, protect yourself? Question mark? A gun? Exclamation point.
It's
Yeah.
not pro-gun. It's
What?
pro Bruce Willis murdering people for entertainment. But
Yeah.
there's no entertainment in the
No.
whole movie.
It's pretty much, hey, someone like killed my family, and now I want revenge, and the only way I'm gonna do
Okay,
it is I'm gonna
I
buy
get
a
that.
gun and
But
hunt
and,
them
and
down.
we all think like that.
Yeah, we think
But-
if someone murdered your family, you probably want revenge. You probably do something. I don't know if you do that, but if you did, people would understand. But he doesn't even go looking for the people who killed his family at first. He's just
No.
like killing people.
Yeah.
It's just
Drug dealer dead.
Yeah, it's until the scene
Right.
after the ice cream man
Maybe
that
he
he
thinks
starts
it's-
going after.
that's-
his
When,
wife.
that's
is it
different.
when MJ?
That's when MJ comes.
Okay,
Well,
so-
these are just
Well,
people
he's-
that he thinks are bad. But
Well,
Yeah.
it may be because
Yeah.
where he saw that kid in the hospital got shot. He feels for him. He feels suffering for him, so he wants to take care of that. So that
well,
kid-
yeah,
But-
absolutely. But the
but then-
carjackers that he gunned down before that.
yeah. Which
But then
makes-
he's just killing people though.
yeah.
But then okay, so now we get into the point where it's so he's at work. And then the valet. This is what I was talking about earlier. The valet with MJ tattooed on his hand.
Which, by the way, if you're gonna be a criminal, I wouldn't
Yeah,
recommend
get your initials
putting.
tattooed.
I wouldn't recommend putting very unique things on
Yeah, in
very visible
case
parts of
you
your
ever
body.
forget what your initials are.
Yeah,
But so comes in and he's shot up, which is real convenient because he's just all covered in bullets. And what is it? His phone. He takes his phone.
no.
well, at first he notices the watch. His
Yeah.
watch.
Oh,
is on that guy's
so he
arm.
sees his watch. So that's why the watch is important because he sees the watch and he's like, maybe you had something to do with my wife getting murdered. So he takes the watch and then doesn't he take his phone too?
Well, before that, he, which I didn't realize he was doing this. He tells the doctor to defibrillate his heart, which I
Yeah.
thought he was doing to
Yeah,
actually
That's what he was
save
doing to
him,
save him.
Yeah,
to
over
get some
and over.
info, but he did it on purpose to kill him.
Yeah, but we would go on to find later because Zach told us. I don't even remember what we were doing. He goes, "But you remember that scene? I didn't know you were only supposed to hit somebody with the paddles one time."
Well, that's
Yeah.
what defibrillators aren't supposed to restart your heart. They're supposed to reset your heart pattern.
Yeah.
If your heart's beating irregularly, they're supposed to kind of stop it and fix the pattern
Yeah.
so that you go back to your heart beating normally.
It's not like one of the ones where you take. The
No, so if
Yeah,
you
that's what it is. He
Oh.
punched
so,
him in the
and
chest.
he
so
keep- and he
but
keeps
but,
sitting with
but
it?
he's like
Yeah, but he
he's-
does it to kill him, and I had no idea.
Yeah,
So
I
he-
had no idea either.
So that
so he's
happens.
throwing off his heart.
Yeah,
he
he's
just defibrillates him to death,
Damn.
and then he takes his watch, and then
He
phone,
takes the watch and then he goes back out to the ambulance where
and then he finds his phone.
finally the paramedics do their job right. They kept Miguel's jacket in the car
Yeah.
and he was like, "Oh, here's his phone." No one around the ambulance,
Yeah.
parked right outside of
And
a
then-
hospital.
and he knows exactly
Well,
which
and he-
ambulance it is.
Yeah,
He's-
the
but-
exact one.
He's
But-
a surgeon. They're gonna respect him. He knows what he's doing.
What does a surgeon need to do in an ambulance?
Right. They were like,
It's very
I was like,
good.
we don't have enough supplies in the hospital. I'm gonna get some
Yeah,
out of the
hold
ambulance.
all
on,
this
let me
government
get
funding
this
isn't doing
scalpel.
it for us.
Well, he could not have had an ID. I mean, and
He's
then
like,
just
hey.
like looking for maybe a jacket, like a contact.
He's like,
ID.
I have a clue on how this man died.
This is
So all we have is
also
scalpels and gauze in the hospital. Do you guys have band-aids back here?
2 words. Eli Roth. So
I
we'll
need
just leave it
Very
at that.
true.
I'm on a hunt
Okay,
for 2
it's not even
Tylenol.
Eli Roth. Like I hate Eli. Well, I don't hate Eli Roth. I don't like Eli
But
Roth.
most of his
Most of
movies-
it's the writing. Like not. Well,
That's
not
his
most of
fault.
But-
That's honestly his fault
A
because
lot
he's
of-
the one that gets these writers to
But
come in.
it. But it's not
And,
even.
and none of his movies like ever explain like what's actually going on. Like it's kind of like you're just like looking at the movie. It's like, all right, it's starting here, but how's this gonna finish?
I'll be damned if we'll let you talk about Cabin
Actually,
Fever.
now, since
Prime
since,
example number 1.
But he won't be damned if you talk about the remake like that.
Oh.
since Andrew brought up the writers, I just want to point this out. There was one guy.
Oh yeah.
I'm not even going to try to pronounce that
There
name.
was-
It's Dean Georgiarius. He rewrote the screenplay from page 1 with Eli Roth, and there were a total of 9 directors on the screenplay by the final
Directors?
shooting director. 9
writers?
writers. Sorry, I meant to say writers. And then at the end, the Writers Guild decided to only
yeah,
give
only one
Joe
writer
Carnahan sole credit.
Only one writer got
Despite
credit.
the fact that despite the fact none of his dialogue remained in the final.
I think it's because-
none of the 8 writers wanted credit. For
Yeah,
that
I think
piece
it's
of
because
shit.
they got to a
That's
point.
what-
They were all sitting there. They're
They're
like,
like, "Fuck
"Hold
this."
the fuck. We don't know
But
what
the
we're
only thing
writing."
is, you dump all this shitty writing in this dude's lap, and none of the dialogue is his.
What I think
That's
something
that's what you call in Hollywood.
But
That's when you
here-
try to bury somebody.
something else is maybe they're like, we're only going to give him credit for the writing. So all the writers are like, I think it's time for some rewrites.
Yeah.
And so they just like, what would be funny? The bowling ball falling on his head. That'd be hilarious.
Oh,
Let's give him credit for that.
Something that kind of made me mad, which goes to that bowling ball scene, is right as Bruce Willis gets Miguel's phone, he gets a text from the guy who runs the bar.
Of course,
he's like,
something
come
else.
pick this up that I got
Something
for
else.
you.
Like, okay, he gets but he doesn't even like. I think he's always gonna go through the call logs, the messages, check like maybe social media. The first thing he does is go to pictures.
Yeah, and
Why?
finds his address.
Because he's got to find
Oh,
news.
and something else. The phone's locked, and he goes to this abandoned dead body and uses his fingerprint
still
to
in
get
the
into it.
operating room. I think.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I also got a question though too. Does he do the famous Bruce Willis grunt or like yell that he does like in every move that he's ever made? Because
I
if
don't
he
know.
does, if that makes the movie 20.
I'm not that
Oh no,
heavy into Bruce
I
Willis.
quit caring so early on. I
Yeah.
didn't really.
So
Yeah, I think we all almost walked out pretty early.
well,
It's just that
there's-
bad.
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
Good
no,
lord.
okay, we'll tell you the bowling ball scene is when I almost walked out.
Yeah.
Which,
But we'll get to. But
yeah, as soon as you get to
so
it, I'll
okay,
say-
so he gets his phone. He uses the dead guy's finger that no one's around for some reason.
Yeah.
To
Who's not in the morgue,
and the
who's
dead
just
guy
chilling.
who has been
No.
dead for quite some time because Bruce had time to go to the ambulance, come back. His
Yeah,
body has
so-
been moved to the morgue.
okay, so he unlocked his phone. His phone stays unlocked all the way to his office.
Yeah.
And then, so all the way to his office, and then he's going through the pictures for some reason. He sees the picture of his address, and he's like, "Ooh, you sneaky little." And then he gets a knock on his office door, and it's Vincent D'Onofrio, his brother, Uncle Frank,
Yeah.
comes, and they just have like a meaningless conversation about like, "What do you want to borrow more money?" He's like, "No, I was just trying to have a good time with my brother." And he's like, "I'll wait, come back. I'm sorry." And he's like, "Yeah, whatever, man." And then he goes to the bar. Is that right?
Yeah, then he goes to the
Yeah.
bar, which I don't remember its name.
So it doesn't matter. It's
Yeah.
it's named after some guy,
Yeah,
and he's like, "I'm here to see the
It's the some guy bar.
yeah, I'm here to see some guy, whoever's bar this is." And then he's like, "Oh, you're looking at him," and he points at this old man watching soccer who has nothing to do with anything.
I don't want to interrupt
because he
you.
then tells the old man to leave.
Yeah, because this when he walks in, it's pretty much like a speakeasy. The front of it is a liquor store. Well, nobody's manning the front counter of this fucking illegal operation.
And the
And
front
he
door
just-
is unlocked.
Yeah, and he just walks right to the back where there's this illegal bar, and there's just some old man sitting there watching bowling.
And they
Oh,
don't.
it was bowling.
Their
Yeah.
way of trying to stop him was,
Oh, like,
"Hey, you can't be back
I
here."
just thought
Yeah.
I just thought about that foreshadowing because he's watching bowling.
Yeah.
I hate it.
Oh, and
But-
then it's like,
was he Russian?
but
No,
it's
they're
like,
No.
but it's like
The old man, I think he's like Hispanic,
Yeah, I think he is.
because and then the guy who he talks to, who Bruce Willis
The
talks
white
to,
guy behind the bar
is a white guy with a ponytail,
And-
whose name and credit is Ponytail.
Yeah, it's a little ridiculous.
Wow.
So
yeah, that's what they accredit.
and then
him.
he's like, "Hey, Miguel sent me, or MJ sent me, whatever." And then so he's
Yeah,
like,
because he says, "I own the restaurant he works at."
yeah, and he's like, "I need a gift for my wife," but he says he owns this restaurant, but he's also wearing a hoodie
Yeah,
and just like the most basic clothes. Like if he told me he owned a restaurant, I'd be like, "You maybe work at a McDonald's,"
yeah.
like
I
at
wouldn't
most,
believe him. 'Cause,
Well-
I mean, there's a lot
What,
of people
'cause he-
that.
because he's Bruce Willis.
he's wearing
No.
a dusty ass old hoodie.
You
and
know,
some
you
jeans.
didn't see
Yeah,
what he's
oh yeah,
wearing.
he
He's
gets
wearing,
all
like-
of his hoodies from the lost and found at the hospital.
And-
Have you ever
that's
seen
how
our
the-
boss dress?
That's true, but that's how he makes him out, is because there's still a tag with the hospital's
Yeah, that's
stuff on it.
So he
like the hospital's contact information.
he walks around it. Okay, so Bruce Willis sits at the bar. The guy walks around him. The guy walks around him, sees the tag, so he goes behind the bar, and then he's like, they're sitting there talking. He's like, "Yeah, I got a bunch of watches so you can buy," or something like
Yeah.
that. And then he goes to reach under the bar for a watch or something, and then Bruce Willis sees in a mirror
Yeah.
behind the bar that he's reaching for a gun, and so he, instead of his first instinct being to pull the gun out and be like, "Hey, stop," he grabs a dart because he thinks, "I can get this dart in his hand
Yeah.
faster than he can shoot me."
a plastic tip dart. He
And then
yams it in the
It's
pus.
not even the old school metal metal
No.
tip. It's
And
a
then he
plastic.
stabs him in the hand, and then he's like, "Ah, my hand!" Then he pulls out a gun. He's like, "Ah, drop it!" And so the Ponytail stops looking for the gun or whatever, and they both walk to the back. And he's like, "I want my stuff back." He's not even talking about his wife. He's like, "I want my stuff."
Yeah.
And so
But you forgot to mention before this guy goes to reach for the gun, he sends out a text to what's his name?
Fish.
To Fish. He sends a text to Fish and says, "Hey, the doctor is here."
Yeah, hey, the doctor from that thing is here. He sends that text, and Fish turns out to be one of the other guys from the robbery. And then, so Fish is on his way. So they go in the back, and then they're looking, and they finally finds his stuff, and they're going through it, and and Bruce Willis is pointing the gun at Ponytail. And then as they're doing this, Fish comes in, and he's got his gun out, and he's ready to mess some stuff up.
Yeah, and Bruce Willis sees him through the security cameras that they have outside,
Well,
which didn't catch
First,
Bruce
Bruce
walking
Willis
in.
is like, "I'd kill you, but I'm too good for that," or something. So he's gonna he's gonna let him live, and then he starts to walk, or he sees Fish come in a security camera, and then he moves, and then Fish shoots Ponytail, and they make it like, "Oh no, I shot Ponytail," but he easily could have missed him.
Oh yeah, no doubt.
Oh,
There's
yeah.
plenty of time for him to not shoot
Because
Ponytail.
he had the, like, even though Bruce Willis saw him on the camera, he had the drop on him still because he had his gun out and ready to go.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And then they both turn and they get into some like weird gun battle where they both fire 87 shots apiece.
Yeah.
And they're both constantly ducking over.
It's
and just,
it's worth noting that Bruce. I guess he could have bought one, but probably not. Bruce Willis has one magazine that he found in the one gun that he has. We can assume he bought ammo because he's got money and it's easy to buy ammo.
Yeah, but they see the boxes on the table.
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
they have
But-
it in the shot.
But
loader.
he never has another magazine.
No,
but
not at all.
he'll
no,
go
he
through.
definitely doesn't because he only loads one every time.
He'll go through like 50 rounds, maybe per kill. So he's just shooting nonstop over and over, and then they finally get to a point where Fish is hiding behind the bar, and Bruce Willis uses the camera to like guess where he's at, and then he shoots and like hits him in the leg. So Fish is on the ground, and then he walks over because Fish's gun ran out of ammo amazingly.
Yeah,
And then,
finally.
and so Bruce Willis walks over, and he's still got 80 rounds in the mag. You know how it is.
Oh yeah.
So he's aiming it at him, and then what happens that he loses his gun?
Fish kicks him in the dick.
Yeah, oh yeah. Fish kicks him directly in his genitalia.
Okay,
So
so
Bruce
yeah,
Willis stumbles backwards.
Fish nutmegs. Fish nutmegs Bruce Willis.
He
He falls down, drops his gun. He's on his back, but while
is
he's
good.
falling, he like knocks a bowling ball on a shelf loose that he's near. Is that what causes the bowling
Yeah.
ball?
well,
he hits the wall.
I think he like when he hits the wall and falls
It's
down.
weird because it's like a half wall with a little shelf all the way on the
Yeah.
ceiling, but he hits the half wall and it shakes it hard enough to dislodge the ball just
And then
enough that
there's
it
a
slowly
bowling ball
rolls.
that is up there for no reason.
yeah.
And then it starts like slowly rolling towards the edge, and then you see Fish pick up his gun, and he's like scooting towards him a little bit. Just keeps scooting. He's like, "I'm gonna kill you." Instead of actually killing him, he just goes, "I'm gonna kill you."
Yeah, I
and
never
then he-
understand that.
And then he's waiting. He waits like 5-10 seconds. This bowling ball falls, and it hits Fish right on the head. He's standing perfectly underneath it.
Yep.
And it makes a sound that's like bowling pins being knocked down.
Yeah,
Like
it sounds like
somebody
someone
got a
just hit a
strike.
strike.
Yep.
And it makes me. That's why I almost left the movie.
But
I was
what-
like,
what I wanna
you
bring up-
got to be kidding me.
What I want to bring up from before that, when they're like in the back room and where like all the stuff is that they've stolen, in the tussle, Bruce Willis gets knocked backwards, and he grabs this guitar,
Oh yeah, he
From behind
he
it,
one
yeah.
hands a guitar.
dude, and he swings the soul out of this guitar and cleans Fish in
He-
the
dude,
face with
he
it.
beats-
Like hashtag Jeff Jarrett style.
Oh yeah, pretty
dude,
much.
he beats the
Shit.
goatee off him.
He does.
But and then here's the thing though, the bowling ball's not even what killed Fish.
No,
He falls forward, and somehow Bruce Willis grabs the gun and like
in
turns
midair
it
and
around
twists it, does a complete 180 and
and
Shoots
shoots him in the head or
Yeah,
something.
I
don't
think
think
that's.
it's
I think it
physically
He
lines
goes
up
like goes
perfectly.
underneath his,
Yeah.
and then he blows his brains out. Not a drop of
Whoa.
blood's on Bruce Willis.
No, God,
this
no.
brings me-
blood doesn't come
Look,
straight down.
here's
onto
what's
a person.
dumb.
Ever.
Here's what's dumb. They didn't find him. Like, there's not like a trail of blood or anything. That's not how they start suspecting him. They find his ring that he dropped for no reason whatsoever. Like, there's no reason that he should have dropped it.
no,
Yeah,
Not
it's
like
when
he- not
gets
on
up
purpose,
From
I'm
that,
saying-
he takes off running, and the
Yeah.
ring falls.
It just
for no
like there's
reason.
no reason it should fall.
or like
but
all
it
of a
does.
sudden his finger's just a little looser.
I
Yep.
just want to say though that you three have seen this. I'm looking on the inside on out, and you guys have seen this, and I'm kind of like respecting like you guys have pretty good music. Like
music.
Music?
I'm heavy
but,
into music. That's not
But,
important.
Yeah, also saying,
but movie and How does this compare to the Charles Bronson Death Wish? Is it any like comparison at all, or is it a way different path?
I think it's completely different.
I think the fact that it's a remake has nothing to do with the fact that it's a terrible movie.
Yeah, not at all. Because
Yeah.
like you look at the original movie, like
The original
he's,
movie's
like he's an
awesome.
architect.
Like, I'm looking at it as a standalone movie. As a standalone movie, these are all the problems.
Yeah, because
I haven't
you know-
even looked at it as from the point of view of it being a remake.
Well, I'm just saying because like a lot of people were expecting this remake to be really good, and hearing from you guys, it sounds like it's a total bust.
Well, I
so
think
you
I think
have-
everyone was expecting it to be anti-gun, like especially at this time.
yeah,
Right.
I thought it was gonna
And
like
then,
being
yeah,
a release.
have a
stuff like
different
that.
view. Of
yeah,
it.
but they're
Yeah,
like,
for sure.
no, more, get him.
The first one was from the
More.
'70s. It was just kind of like a fun movie. Well, not fun. He's murdering
Well, it's an
people.
old school action movie, and it's like
Yeah.
Yeah, it's like a Dirty Harry type movie. But then
It's
this
a little
one,
goofy.
this one
like-
coming out now, people thought it was gonna make kind of a political statement.
Yeah.
I was like, it's Eli Roth. It's gonna be
but
terrible.
it's a total
We almost
360.
didn't even go see it when we got to the theater. What was it? We almost saw it.
We almost saw Black Panther for the third time.
Yeah.
We mentioned seeing a movie called Every Day, which we had no idea what
And
that
then
was about.
Winchester. We thought
Oh,
it was
Winchester. Yeah, I
Winchester,
really
yeah, that
wanted to
was
go
the
see
last one.
Winchester.
Yeah, but it's irrelevant. They were just talking about how much we didn't want to really see this movie.
Yeah.
So
On the drive there, all I could talk about was how terrible I knew it was going to be.
Yeah.
And I hate to go into a movie with that kind of perception, but just looking
But
at the trailer, I
anything,
mean, I was like,
if
it's-
anything,
we
that should have
were-
made it better though.
We were
Because
so worried
if you
we
go in
actually
with low
looked up the Rotten
expectations, then
Tomato
it's like
score.
if you go in with low expectations, we looked at the Rotten Tomato score. It was like 9.
18%.
Was it
18?
15?
Yeah.
yeah,
15,
15,
not-
I think
So
it
it
was
something.
15,
It was in
15
the
to
it was
18,
in, it was in the teens.
Good
It was in the.
Lord.
Yeah.
It's probably at like a 3 now, so it's not.
Oh, it
But
probably is.
But I think
so going in with low expectations, even if it's like mediocre, it'll still be better than I thought it was going to be. It
Yeah.
somehow did worse than what I expected it to do.
I mean, I think a lot of people's like thing is like when directors do remakes, people expect like it's gonna be good, and 9 times out of 10, it's like
No,
it's
there's-
terrible.
There's
Oh, yeah.
almost never a good remake.
No,
Yeah, but I don't even think you can look at this as a
No.
remake. It has to be a standalone film, or else it'll just destroy everything you've ever known about Death Wish.
and I
Yeah.
hate that because the original one is like the better one. Like,
Yeah, undoubtedly.
But going in, so they find his ring. So Detective Hank Schrader is like, yeah, here's his ring. We-
ASAC Schrader.
But he goes and he's like, hey, we found your ring, and then it's just like a real weird conversation.
Yeah.
How so at this point he knows that whoever's the Reaper, who they keep calling him on the radio, he knows he knows that he's left-handed at least,
Yeah.
and that he has a wound on his hand from where the slide caught him on the
And
the
Bruce Willis
hijacking.
leaves his under the desk the whole time.
Yeah.
Just keeps grabbing everything with
Keeps
his
touching
right.
stuff with one hand.
Like, won't even, like, I don't know about you all, but sometimes when I'm having a conversation and somebody hands me something, if they go to hand me a second thing, I'm moving it into my other hand.
Oh, yeah,
Yeah.
I'll
always.
hold both.
Well, I
Yeah.
mean,
And then
His-
Bruce is just
he's
like,
here's
oh,
here's a second file. He's
oh,
like, all
that's
right, but
that.
first you
Sit
take
that
this
down.
first.
would
All
you,
right,
don't you think that'd be
Chris.
kind of sketchy? I mean,
Swap
even
them.
Oh,
if
yeah.
he's a surgeon, I think he would at least wrap it up and make
He does wrap it
He
up.
does wrap
But
it up.
that's not going to hide the fact that
Yeah.
that he
Then he
has.
still has a wound there.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, but he could come
It's
up
not
with,
an open
you're a
wound.
surgeon. I mean, it could have been a bad day at work.
But-
But you could have automatically sliced yourself and like.
But he's also,
shit
he's not
happens.
just a surgeon, he's Bruce Willis. He doesn't need.
Yeah.
Oh wait, something I
Skills.
forgot to mention.
God.
Before Fish dies, he like gives up the name real easy. Or is it?
Yeah.
Is that what
Yeah,
happens?
he gives up his buddy Joe.
Yeah, so he gives up the name of one
Sa-
of the other guys.
Says you can find him at an auto body shop. I don't think he ever
Yeah.
specified. He just said the
No.
body shop.
Yeah.
I think he gives
It's
like
not
a,
even
like
a
a street
name.
address.
He might.
But it's whatever. I don't even
But
care at this
Bruce
point.
Willis does also take his phone, though. I will
Yeah.
give him that.
So
Yeah, he does.
so
he keeps
then
taking unlocked phones
Yeah.
Yeah.
at this point.
Apparently, these criminals have no passwords.
no. So Fish dies. Fish is the most meaningless character, and then Bruce Willis, is it after, or is the scene where he's like going to batting practice before he goes to see Joe, where his brother's at batting practice.
His brother's at batting practice, and the detectives show up.
Yeah,
And
they're like
then
they're like,
then
hey,
he
we
goes
got a
and sees Joe.
left-handed vigilante on the loose, and we just happen to know that you used to be a left-handed baseball star.
Yeah.
Yeah,
He was like, well,
and he's a criminal.
Yes,
That's
yes.
what they know.
Yeah, okay, so the brother was a criminal, and that's how the detectives know him. So they show up, and they're like, oh, yeah, you're left-handed, you used to be a stud, but blah, 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 blah. And the brother's a fat sack of shit now. Like
Vincent D'Onofrio and Bruce Willis
they
are
give it-
two
Totally
completely
different
different
Here's the
height,
thing.
body shapes.
they give a
everything.
description. They're like, we have footage of him leaving the bar, and it fits your build. You know, average white fit build.
Yeah,
I was
fit
like,
build.
Specific.
where in the hell do you see a fit build? This man is thicker than a bowl of oatmeal.
Yeah,
Vincent
like, it
D'Onofrio,
looks
the
like
only thing that's like the fit on him is maybe the tight fit jeans he wears.
like, dude,
Yeah.
it looks like he lives in the back of a Twinkies truck and he just opens it up every once in a while to swing a bat. Like that's
I'm gonna have to agree with you on the,
Like, that's
on the
it.
terrible detectives. I mean, usually,
Oh, they get
someone,
worse.
even
Oh,
me,
yeah,
like
they get
if, like just
even.
common sense,
but wait,
like
there's
more.
Something we forgot to mention earlier was the first scene with Hank Schrader is he's trying to eat a gluten-free
Oh, yeah.
nutrition bar.
There's also
he takes a bite and he goes, ugh, spits it out.
there's
just
also this like
starts
running
throwing up.
this running. It's not even like a subplot. It's just a thing that makes
yeah,
no
it's
sense.
just a
has
running
no
joke.
has no purpose. So first of all, he tries to eat this like granola bar, and you can tell he's trying
Yeah.
to be healthy. He takes one bite, spits it out. You're like, Hank Schrader's fat. That's funny.
Yeah.
And then it gets to the point where they're at a crime scene. They're at the scene where he kills the ice cream man.
No, it's the carjacking.
I think it was the ice cream man, wasn't it?
No, because it's nighttime and the carjacking was at night.
Let's rock paper scissors on it.
It doesn't matter. He's
Okay.
leaving. He's
Let's do
leaving
it.
a crime scene. You guys are losing.
regardless, if you go see the shitty movie, you're gonna receive
But
regardless. So.
You know I
anyway,
always go
they're
scissors.
leaving a crime scene, and
No.
she's like, "You want to go get some gluten?" And he's like, "Oh yeah." He's like, "You want to get some donuts?" And he's like, "Oh yeah." He's like heavy into. You can tell he's heavy into food.
You want to
And-
get some bear claws?
I thought. I think it was the ice cream man, because there's like a bunch of people. I remember there being a bunch of people around, and
He might have been.
he's just talking about getting food. Like if I was
yeah,
if
I
I was
think
at
they
a
just mentioned food in
if I was at
passing
a-
at the
And that could-
carjacking.
and that could just
and
be
then the
Eli
bear
Roth.
claws
Yeah.
specifically.
And that could
there,
just
yeah.
be like Eli Roth, because like Quentin Tarantino with like feet, like he's like a chubby chaser or something, likes to see it fat people. Like,
Eli Roth was sitting there. He's
Oh,
like, "This is
yeah,
gonna be
bear.
so funny."
He's
Bear
like,
claws
dude, people are
and
gonna
bravery.
laugh so
Oh.
hard.
He's like,
This will
"Thank-
take us
and then-
almost
Thank
100
God I'm not
minutes."
taking a
And
writing
then-
credit.
there's like another throwback to him being fat, like at the very end,
Yeah,
and it makes it even dumber. But
well, it's on the list.
he goes, where are we at? They're going to see his brother,
Yeah, they're talking to his brother.
and then he's like, I didn't murder nobody.
Thick build.
Yeah, thick build,
not average fit. Like,
not average.
Not
Nowhere
even
close to. He's like a good 3-4 inches taller than Bruce Willis too.
Not even the same height.
No, but then we go to Joe, and
Yeah.
what does he do to like knock him out?
He-
He hits him with like a wrench.
He's under. Yeah, Joe's under
he
a
gets to-
car,
he gets
and he
to-
picks up that wrench, hits him in his knees, and makes Joe.
Was it
I
his
don't know
knees
how.
or his wing?
Yeah, no, yeah, he splits him right up the middle. It's another,
Okay, yeah.
it's another
Yeah,
nutmeg.
he nutmegs him.
Yeah,
So-
he nutmegs him, but Joe also smacks his head on the car and knocks himself
Is that what
out.
it is?
Yeah. So
both
Joe,
I
both
hate this
combined.
movie.
so,
so much.
so Joe wakes up. Joe wakes up to Paul like hovering over him, and
Well, first we need. He
So
comes
he hits
in,
him so hard in the beanbags it knocks him
Uh,
out.
Yeah. Well, no. Well, I'll explain. Okay, so he gets to this garage, and Joe's like, "Hey, buddy, we're closed." And then Bruce Willis is like, "I'm Bruce Willis. Ain't nobody closed to me." And then he walks up and he's like, "Didn't you hear me? We're closed." He goes, "Are you Joe?" He goes, "Who are you?" And then he just takes his wrench and just nutmegs Joe as hard as he can,
Jesus.
right in the beanbag.
dude, I'm telling you,
And
he's
So he
then-
didn't even get confirmation of this is Joe. I think
no,
No.
dude, he
assaulted
Kyle
Joe.
Schwarber's his tater sack.
Because all Joe,
Right.
all Joe keeps
Right
saying
up
is,
the middle.
All Joe keeps saying is, "The shop's closed. The shop's closed. The
Yeah.
shop's closed."
So he doesn't even identify this may not even be Joe.
No.
He's just assaulted
Dude,
this
no,
fucking poor
Dude,
soul.
he goes full nutcracker on Joe.
He does.
So, and then Joe hits his head, wakes up, like chained to the like little mechanic board,
Good lord.
and
that would be what's that called?
I don't
It's
know. you
the,
gotta
Wait,
say it.
hold on, everybody pause.
It's the
Drew.
No, wait, it's
like a creeper.
it's a creeper. That's it. See,
There
look,
you go.
Pokey knows stuff.
Also, while we're
Tech
quiet,
savvy.
I looked up Bruce Willis and Vincent D'Onofrio's height just to prove how dumb this movie is. Bruce Willis is 6 foot. Vincent D'Onofrio is 6'4". There's a, I mean,
told
4
you.
inches isn't a lot, but that's a big difference in height.
Right,
Yeah.
but you got to look at me. I'm 5'11". I stand next to 6'3" Andrew.
Yeah,
He looks way taller than me.
yeah.
And wider, but that's for a different reason.
But it's also camera angles. And
It's all those
good.
bear claws.
Again, two words, people, if you are watching this. Eli Roth.
You can.
Eli.
Yeah. Also, if you're not watching this, you're listening to this.
Yeah,
That's a
You
very
can
good point. We
probably
don't have a
you can
camera
probably
going.
hear how hefty Andrew is right next
that's
to me.
right.
True. You
But
Visual images.
Not
always
important.
matter.
so we go. Okay, so he wakes up, he's chained,
Yep.
and then instantly, Bruce Willis It's
Well,
like,
Sorry, I just thought of Andrew as Ellie from Borderlands. That's exactly what I just.
but
Well, instantly we noticed that Joe had the cut from
Yeah, he has the-
Paul's daughter.
okay, yeah. So
All healed up.
It turns out Joe's the one who was being real rapey and gets cut
Yep.
and gets cut by Bruce Willis's daughter. So hot daughter.
She's a model, I think.
She is.
That sound. No, there's no way. There's no way.
But
Did you hear that?
Him?
No, did the mic pick that
my
up?
phone.
Oh, I'm almost certain
It went.
they did.
As soon as he said hot daughter.
That's my text message notification. But
Well, if
Um,
it did, that's amazing.
he wakes up Shane, and then
Oh, it definitely did.
the cut on his face that his daughter gives him is like pretty much healed, and it hasn't even been that long.
Yeah, the movie. I don't know if it's
I don't know
actually.
what the
been,
actual like time
Yeah,
span of
they-
this
they
movie.
But the
should've-
movie makes it seem like it's day by day.
That should be a fact check. I think if we should just.
Okay, so we know.
There's just a.
Okay,
I
so
don't-
we
There's a
know we
sleeping
know
man in
we
there.
know she gets buried, so it's probably like been a week or two.
Yeah.
So this has happened. We'll say this happened like this is like maybe a month and a half, 2 months around there.
Still though, for how thick
Still.
that cut looked
Yeah,
when she gave
so-
it to him,
Oh, yeah,
should
it was
not
a-
be
it was
completely
Yeah,
healed
it's
and
like
scarred.
a velociraptor scratched his
Yeah.
face, but it's
That's
pretty
a
much
D'Onofrio.
healed. And then, so this is the first callback to Bruce Willis being a surgeon that you get, like, or I think the only one.
Yeah.
Is that he cuts his leg open. He's like, "This is your sciatic nerve." Then he gives him a shot that I don't
Yeah,
have
he
no
goes-
idea.
Which
I
we
have
would
no
have to
idea.
go back through and do internet research after we left to find out what this does.
And I
Yeah.
still don't
And
remember
no
the
I
one
name
still have
exactly.
no idea.
It's propofol or
Yeah,
pro-
if it's the one I think it was when I googled it, it should be one that will. It helps to not have you or let you have a heart attack. Like it'll slow your heart down so you don't go at it. But at the same time, Bruce explains in the movie, he's like, if you cut the sciatic nerve and you add a caustic agent to it,
Which is-
it's the most
yeah.
pain you can give someone without making them go into cardiac
Yeah.
arrest.
So that's
So
what he
the
does.
shot has
Good
no
quote,
meaning.
by
No.
the way. That was
He-
verbatim right there.
He cuts his leg open, gets to the
I
sciatic
think I
nerve.
typed it out,
Then he
actually.
just starts pouring brake fluid on this
Yeah.
guy's. This is probably like the prosthetic for this is actually really good.
Yeah, it is.
I was like, it's one of my favorite points in the movie, and probably the only thing that I like.
Yeah,
about the movie.
from a
I
special
was like,
effects
wow.
standpoint, I mean, you
was
don't
like this-
necessarily have to have a leg.
It was
but-
kind of hard to watch because
Yeah, it was.
because you're like, oh yeah,
Oh, yeah.
he's messing him up with that throat. I was like, that's a goofy throat. I
That
was
throat was terrible.
But his leg,
Throat goblin.
so yeah, throat goblin. So his leg is, so he starts pouring brake fluid on his leg, and then, so the what's his name? Joe. Joe starts
Joe, yep.
giving up the juice on whatever the last guy's name
the
is.
juice.
He
The
says
juice.
that's
Giving
a that's a hell of a way to say it.
Gets given up the juice.
Well, yeah, what he says is he goes, I know his name's Knox, I don't know anything else about him. And then,
Yeah,
Bruce-
yeah. He goes.
and I think this shot's in the trailer. He says, Bruce screams at him
He goes,
with
"How do I
no
find
emotion
him?"
in his face. He still screams at the man and says, tell me who killed my family. How do I find him?
Who killed my wife?
And then fucking Joe says, you don't find him. He finds you.
Yeah.
I think Bruce Willis and also Kurt Angle went to the same acting class. That's what
Yeah, I
figured out.
believe
Oh.
so.
Also, the scene where he's talking to the detectives in his office when they're talking about when they found his ring,
Yeah.
they mention that they'll track the GPS on Fish's phone, and then he smashes both the
Yeah.
phones. Then that stops Bruce's kleptomania of phones for the rest of the movie.
Yeah, it does.
Yeah. So and then he gets the information from Joe about
Knox
which-
finding him.
I have trouble with the names in this
So-
movie
so
because
what
I don't
part-
care about
so what
any.
part are we
Well,
at
it's
in
a
the
good thing
movie?
I
We're
kept the
okay.
cast
We're
list.
getting
Are we like
we're
middle
getting
way?
towards the
Yeah,
end.
yeah,
Towards
we're-
the end?
We're towards the end.
We're
And how,
definitely last 30
how,
minutes.
how long is this movie total?
It's like an hour and 47
It's-
minutes.
Exactly an hour and 47 minutes.
So
Look at
this
you.
is
That's
under.
what I
I
thought.
this
put
is
the
under
runtime
2
down.
hours.
Look
I'm
at
so
that doing
glad
his
I
research.
did.
So it's the worst. It's the worst under
Yeah,
2 hours. Of
I
your
did.
Life.
That's worth.
Yeah,
note-
yeah, pretty much.
That's worth noting because I looked it up. I was like, how much of this movie do I have to sit through?
Yep.
Before I even went in, I was like, an hour and 47 minutes. All right. So, and then he gets the information. Then he starts leaving. Joe's still tied up under this. I forgot to mention, he's under a car that's like suspended by a jack. It's in the trailer.
Yeah,
he's
it's,
under-
it's
It's-
probably the
it's
most
like the-
memorable kill from
Yeah,
the
it's
trailer,
the
I
selling
think.
point of the movie.
Yeah.
It's also, Okay, and then so he starts walking away. He's like, "You're not gonna kill me." And then it cuts to this shot of Bruce Willis that gets used for like all the promo.
Dude, his one-liner though, is
Yeah,
like,
but
is what kills
okay,
me.
so
I'm not gonna kill
it's a
you.
shot of him holding a chain. The chain is attached to a jack, and then he goes, "I'm not gonna kill you." Jack is, but instead of like yanking the chain and moving the jack like you figured he did, he just like jump ropes it.
Yeah,
and,
he
like
just
whips
whips
it.
it.
Whoosh, and then it goes, knocks the jack down. Car falls on Joe. Joe gets squished.
Jesus, but I just want to bring up when the bumper hits this man's head, the
Does
the,
it
the
bounce?
thing no, it
it's
blows the head out of this thing.
It's like they curb stomped a pink watermelon.
yeah,
Ugh.
but it looked really good. Like as
It
far as
did.
like,
Oh, yeah.
as
It
far
was
as
pretty
a
good.
visual effect goes.
It was one of the better scenes in the movie. But so that he dies, then it gets to what is it? He like Knox calls him.
He goes. Paul goes to the hospital because of his daughter. Or, no, he goes to the hospital.
His daughter
Runs in-
wakes up. Doesn't she?
No, she has a seizure.
Oh
that-
yeah.
Yeah, she starts progressively getting worse.
Yeah, and then she just. It's also worth noting she just like gets better out of
Yeah,
nowhere.
she randomly
Yeah.
gets better.
After they talk about like after
She's getting worse and worse, and like okay, his daughter's gonna die, and then there's gonna be some big angry end scene
Yep.
where he's all upset because his daughter. Like no, his daughter gets worse, and then she gets better.
Yep.
But
My thing is this movie has yet to have like a big like climax. You know how like, every movie
we're
has, like,
getting there.
yeah,
There's a climb. It's
it
dumb.
does have a
There's
climax.
climb.
It's stupid, but
is it like nothing like it's
So-
overpowering or anything? That
No,
like,
it's we'll talk about it. But
It's weird.
so what? He's at the hospital and Knox
that-
calls him.
Knox calls him. It's a number. He's like, I don't know. So he hangs up, and then he gets a text that says,
Oh yeah, answer your phone
"Answer your phone."
or something like. It's not. It's a threat.
It's
That's all you need to know.
It's
a-
a
it's a threat.
It's
It's
a
a
terrible
Like,
threat.
answer your phone. I'm gonna curb stomp your puppy. But he finally he answers his phone, and then
so he's like, answer your phone. I'm gonna steal your fucking juice box.
yeah, pretty much.
it's
It's an empty
it's
threat
some
regardless.
half-ass
Yeah.
threat. So then he answers his phone, and he's like, "This is Paul." And I think that's actually how he's like, "This is Paul Kersey."
Yeah.
Yeah,
And
he
then-
does. Who answers their phone first and last name? Like I'm
White
not,
surgeons.
hello, this is
White-
James Wayne.
White surgeons.
Which I just want to point out, fucking, even though Paul kills Joe, and Joe's like, "You don't find Knox, he'll find you." How does Knox know to go looking for Paul?
Knox calls Paul. I have no idea how he
Because
gets his
everybody's
number.
dead at this point.
Like,
Yeah,
we can assume
I
he
should-
uses his weird criminal mastermind like powers to.
I'm always
Yeah.
watching.
You're like, I'm surgeon number.
Right,
And then-
he's just Ming from Flash Gordon.
Yes. And then- so he calls
just
him,
pieced it together.
and then they set up a meet. He's like, "Yeah, come get me. I'm at this club." So,
Oh Jesus, dude,
Bruce-
I forgot about
Bruce
that.
Willis shows up to this.
terrible.
Bruce Willis shows up to this nightclub looking like Reaper Bruce Willis, which is just hoodie, jeans.
So it's pretty much like this, like hostage Bruce Willis.
I don't know. I don't remember Hostage. That movie's
He
13 years old.
I've watched the trailer to this, and I seen the hoodie and seen the jeans, and I instantly thought of hostage Bruce Willis. When he's like
I don't-
talking to the
Andrew, I just want to point out, I don't think I've thought of Hostage since the year it came out. And I've heard you say Hostage like 38 times.
It's because it's the only Bruce Willis
it's
movie.
the hoodie. It's the only Bruce Willis movie that I know that he has a hoodie on, and the trailer when I
That he
watched.
has, that's such a specific need.
Right.
Like, Bruce Willis movie.
It's the same color hoodie.
Right.
That's why it's so off. But
It's
like
the same hoodie.
That's
kept
how
in
I
his closet.
categorize actors. When was the last time Megan Fox wore a hoodie?
I mean, but
Let's see, she wore a hoodie in Jennifer's Body.
Okay, so moving on from this, and your interesting input. But he gets to this nightclub. He's like walking around, and
Can't
then
find Knox.
what is? Yeah, he gets a text. It's like, "I'm in the bathroom" or something.
Yeah.
And then you're like, "Oh, he's a criminal. I'll believe him. He's
Yeah.
definitely in the bathroom."
Yeah,
So he strolls on in.
he only killed my
And-
wife.
And
I'll
then
go
this
find
is
him.
probably the most accurate portrayal of a bathroom in a public area in any movie I've
Yeah,
ever
dude,
seen.
there's-
Because there's
yeah,
actually like
there's
it's
people-
full of people.
Yeah.
There's
there's-
people like doing makeup, doing
There's a
blow.
ton of foot traffic.
all kinds of
However,
This is the
So,
Times
those
Square of
people
bathrooms.
become a problem in a minute.
something else worth noting. This bathroom's got like what, 15 people in it?
If
15,
not,
20?
if not more, yeah.
so
15, 20 people make noise. So but he calls Knox and he hears this phone.
And
clear
they're in a
as day.
nightclub too.
They're in a nightclub.
So there's music, plus there's
So
chatter in the
he's
bathroom.
trying to like get
It's
the drop on.
physically impossible to ever hear a phone ring.
So
Yeah,
he
pretty much.
he
I
get-
can't hear my own phone ring when I go in a nightclub and
So
I go in the
it's-
bathroom.
But it's like the
Yeah.
clearest
So-
fucking.
If I'm in a
front
bathroom
fa-
by myself, I can't hear my phone ring over my own pee stream.
That's true.
Yeah, so he he calls Knox. He hears the phone ring.
I heard that and it scared me.
He calls Knox. He hears the phone ring behind this door of one of the stalls. And instead of being like, Knox might be in there, he's like instantly just unloads like 8 rounds.
Yeah,
into
he's instantly
into
like,
this
Knox
bathroom.
is in there. Bang, bang, bang.
And then he opens the stall door up, and Knox's phone is
there's
just
the
sitting there
phone.
because Knox knew that's what he'd do. But it turns out Knox was the guy that was making out by the door of the bathroom because that's what people do.
Yeah.
And then he like
He comes
yeah
in
he
with
comes
the
in
girl
he
as
comes
a
in
shield.
holding the girl he was making out with as a hostage.
But again, just like
Which, by
Fish,
the way,
he
is a
had the
terrible
drop
first
on
date.
him.
Yeah, had the
Didn't-
drop on him.
didn't take him
hit
out.
him, even though
Hold
you know.
up. How the hell did Knox dial the phone if he's over there? And
No. He
No,
didn't.
Bruce calls him.
Bruce calls
Bruce
him,
calls Knox.
trying to
Like,
like
how,
find
so
where
how
Knox
does he
is.
answer the phone? That's what,
He doesn't.
He doesn't.
Hears the phone
He
ring.
hears a ring.
Yeah.
So
in
he,
this
he,
loud ass night.
yeah, he hears the ring in
I
the
thought
bathroom.
he hears him like talking.
No.
Or
No, no,
he
no,
just
no.
hears the ring. So he
No, no, no.
God
unloads
forbid
it.
some guy was sitting in the stall just happened to
Right,
get
and
a
a
call from him.
coincidence happens.
And then
He's like, man, that's
oh,
pretty
bang,
cool.
bang."
Little buddy gave me this smartphone just to sit here for a second.
I think it'd be like a pretty cool like dark twist too. Like, oh my god, I shot somebody. and
Keep your
it's-
Shyamalan twist to yourself.
He's
So-
like, oh no.
So Knox shoots a
It's our
whole
second
shoots a
shot.
whole bunch.
D'Onofrio in the bathroom.
Knox shoots a whole bunch. Misses. I think he hits Bruce Willis once.
He gets
hits
him
him, like,
to
the
where
shoulder.
he grazes him across
Yeah.
the shoulder.
Yeah. So Bruce Willis jumps into the stall, kicks the door closed. That's gonna stop the bullets. He shoots.
He lays on the floor
Yeah,
specifically.
he's laying on the floor in the same spot, never moves.
half hanging out of the stall, half
Yeah.
You
he's
can-
like making
you can
no-
clearly-
Yeah, in the shot.
There's
you
a
can see
point
the
of view-
bottom
yeah.
half
Yeah.
of Bruce's body.
Yeah, there's a point of view shot from Knox. You can see it like up to like his waist.
Yep.
So he's like, I don't want that. I want a headshot.
And
So he
Knox,
keeps shooting.
Knox just keeps shooting.
And he probably unloads
Chest level.
Dude, he's-
20, 25.
Keep shooting. So he takes a break, stops shooting. Bruce Willis opens the door, shoots back, doesn't hit him, and then he closes the door again.
Also doesn't hit any of the other 15
doesn't
people
hit
in the
any-
bathroom, the hostage, anybody.
Something worth noting: he opens the door. Knox sees where he's at in the bathroom.
Yeah, he sees his
Then he
placement.
closes the door again. Doesn't move.
Knox's arm does not move,
Knox
just
doesn't
bang.
think I'm going to shoot where I just
Yeah.
saw him at. I'm
Yeah,
going to
he
keep
sees-
shooting in the middle of
He
the
sees
door.
Bruce Willis' strategic hiding spot, just laying there.
Yeah.
And then Bruce Willis has the idea: I'm going to shoot. What is it like a?
There's an electrical box
Yeah.
directly above the
Shoot.
one stall they
Yeah.
chose.
With the warning label showing, like, it's
Yeah.
just the most
Like,
ridiculous
hey,
thing.
if you shoot this, lights are going to go out.
Pretty much.
And
That's
then he
basically what
shoots
that's,
it, lights
might as
go
well
out.
said it.
Like the warning label just says, "Hey
but
Bruce."
He didn't hit it the first
Shoot-
time though. For
shooting
something that's straight up and all
Yeah,
he had to do was
misses
aim
it.
straight, he misses twice and had to
Okay,
shoot
and
it
first,
again.
I want to do a little like geography lesson for this bathroom. The door's on one side. The stall that Bruce Willis is in is on the complete other
Complete
side
other
of the
end,
bathroom.
yep.
He shoots the light out. Within 5 seconds, he's crawling out the bathroom door. He would have had to go past Knox to get out, but that's no problem. He's Bruce Willis. He comes out, goes out the door. Knox is hot on his trail, but doesn't see where Bruce Willis goes.
Because that hoodie is camouflage, instant camouflage. It's the invisible cloak from Harry Potter.
And I don't know, where does it go from when he leaves
from
the nightclub?
there,
I think
Paul goes to his office and he
Yeah.
starts stitching
Yeah.
himself
he
up.
super glues this bullet wound closed.
Yeah, he super glued
Staples
it and
it.
then he put 3 staples in it, and the cut is like from the base of his neck to his shoulder.
Oh yeah, it's from the top of his trap
Yeah,
to his shoulder.
all the way. And then Knox ends up in the ER with a gut shot, just one
Yeah.
shot in his stomach.
And his
And the detectives are there because he's like, "Oh, I know who the vigilante is." And they're like,
Yeah,
"Oh,
and they-
really?"
oh yeah, that's something. Okay, so Knox goes to the hospital. He's got a gunshot wound, so he's just acting like, "Oh, did you see who shot you?" And he's like, "I know who the vigilante is," and he tells A-Sack Schrader
Yep.
that Bruce Willis is the vigilante. So,
Then it cuts to Frank, which is Bruce Willis'
yeah,
brother.
knocking on the house door.
He knocks on the door. Bruce doesn't answer.
Yeah, he's at
then
Bruce
he-
Willis's house, knocks on the door, doesn't answer, so he goes in anyway.
Yeah, he just
And
unlocks
his
the door,
first
walks
instinct,
in,
his first instinct, I'm gonna go down to the basement.
and then that's when I got pissed off in the movie because it shows in that exact shot as he's walking to the basement door. He just goes straight to the basement for some reason, by the way.
yeah,
But he cuts, like, it shows the alarm there, and I'm like, why the fuck is that alarm not set? Even after a robbery, his
Yeah.
wife got killed, his daughter's in a coma. He's still not setting alarms in his house.
Yeah. It's like,
freaking
there's
me
still
out.
no need.
Yeah.
Oh,
so
goodness.
But then they go downstairs. They have a talk. Frank goes back upstairs because the cops show up. The detectives show up.
Ace X-Rater shows up.
Yeah, they want to have a little talk. And Frank gets them to go away. He goes back downstairs. And then he goes, well, I'm no longer a suspect. They now suspect you. And they're both like, yeah, he's definitely in there. But we're going to leave now.
Yeah.
They just leave.
And then so Frank comes downstairs, and here comes one of the worst scenes in the whole movie.
Yep.
Is Frank Vincent D'Onofrio, his brother, is like, oh, well, the good news is I'm not a suspect anymore. The bad news is I'm not a suspect anymore.
Yep.
And then, so they, verbatim how he says it.
What?
But, hold on, moving
They
on.
suspect-
I'm not even
so-
gonna like stop
They
that.
suspected him because he was left-handed and a criminal.
Yeah.
And white.
But
And
he's
white.
also disappointed that he's not a criminal. What kind of
No,
Because
because
now-
now Bruce Willis is.
Yeah, now
He's
that-
trying to say now
that
Bruce
Bruce
Willis
Willis is
defending
the-
his
So,
brother.
Yeah.
so okay, so they're in the basement arguing, and he's like, "You got to stop murdering people for no reason." He's like, "But they killed my wife," and then the writing, you can tell the writing was supposed to be Bruce Willis like breaking down,
Yep.
and just completely like letting it all out that his wife is dead and all that.
You're not a cop. Somebody has to do it.
But it's Bruce Willis, and he has the same expression.
Yeah.
He's like, "They killed my wife."
Yeah,
I don't
like,
know
dude,
what to do."
Like, his voice gets sadder, and it gets more high-pitched, but his face never changes. He's just like, they killed
But it looks like he has
my
like,
wife.
but it looks like he has like a stone face.
He could have
his mouth
tried
doesn't.
to
Yeah.
shed a tear.
It's like
He
from
wouldn't.
below his eyes to above his mouth, it just doesn't move.
No, not at all.
And we've all seen that he can do it.
Like he can
He
frown
looked-
sometimes.
He looked more sad and depressed in Ocean's 12.
He frowns.
Tears of the Sun, best tear ever.
He frowns and opens his mouth a little bit wider.
If you want to see, if you
Then-
want to see a movie where Bruce Willis cries, watch Tears of the Sun. That's honestly the only time I've ever seen his emotions.
Quite
change.
frankly, I'm fed up with Bruce Willis at this point.
Yeah, I don't.
The older
I don't,
he gets, I think it's the worse he gets. I don't know
Oh, yeah.
why.
Dude, no, okay. So Death Wish is so bad, it made Die Hard worse for me.
Really?
Like I look at him, I'm like, you
God,
Bruce
you
Willis.
did a terrible job. Like,
But I know what you become. But
Oh,
then,
Then,
so
then
what
he
hap-
gets a call from the hospital about his daughter.
Yeah, then his daughter wakes up.
In 24 hours. No, not even 24 hours.
like a 48-hour
like-
period.
But
No, not
something
even
else.
48. It was more like 12.
Yeah, yeah, he's like, they say I can take her home tomorrow.
No, they
so this
say
bitch
she
might
can
have-
go home a week later.
Yeah, a week later, yeah.
This bitch was in a coma,
So, okay,
possibly
so-
suffering from amnesia, but she wakes up within not even 24 hours and she's perfectly fine.
Yeah,
Here's
she
the thing.
wakes up.
Here's the thing. So, this argument is like right after the detectives leave, which they shouldn't leave. They should search the house. They have every right to, because they know he's in there.
Yep.
But then after that, they just like don't bring it up again. They're
Yeah.
like, oh, he wasn't in there. Well,
And
that's
the,
probably not him. So they let him go about his business. He takes his daughter's like walking and everything out of nowhere, and then
No, she's not walking yet. She does still have to go
oh
to
yeah,
physical therapy.
she gets wheelchair. Okay, so she's in a wheelchair and doing physical therapy. Then he finally gets to take her home. He wheels her into the elevator, and then Knox walks into the elevator. And
This
I guess
This is a girl who's been in a coma for who knows how long.
Yeah.
yeah,
As far as we can tell.
Yeah, she suffered a
weeks.
gunshot wound to the head.
I mean,
Yeah.
it could be
And-
2 weeks, it could be
And
6,
then
it could be
they
6
admit
hours.
she has amnesia because actually that is when the detectives come back because they ask them. They say, did you get a good look at the guys who did this?
And she's
goes,
like, honestly, I can't remember.
I don't remember anything
But in that split
because
moment,
she didn't
in the
even know
elevator
her
scene,
mom got killed.
But that
yeah,
split
she
moment
She
in the
wakes
also
up-
elevator
doesn't
scene,
remember
she
that she knew
sees
Cobb
she sees
McGraw
Knox,
either.
Yeah.
Yeah.
and just out of nowhere, the amnesia just doesn't exist. She's like,
he-
"That's him. That's the guy that
No,
killed
that's
my
the
mom."
guy. That's the guy that shot the Krav Maga right out of my head.
Yeah, they get in the elevator, and then Knox walks in, who just suffered a gunshot to the stomach, who's
Yeah.
leaving the hospital
He's-
a week later also.
just conveniently.
In Chicago, where you
But-
know they're getting people in and
And
out
you
with
s-
gunshot
and
wounds.
But-
how many,
There's
how
a
many writers
child
were in
who
this?
was in and out.
How
Yeah.
many writers did this?
9.
9 did it.
So
one
9
guy-
writers are trying to bury each
It's-
other pretty much.
no,
with the
it's-
writing.
Actually,
It's 9
I don't-
writers, 1
I don't
credit.
know if Eli Roth is counted with those 9.
So let's go ahead and assume it's 10 because Eli Roth does stupid stuff.
Just
but
10
one
people.
but-
guy got credit for it.
but
And
then-
it is depressing.
But then I don't. Okay, so with this scene, I don't even know if Bruce Willis knows that that's Knox because he never really sees him. Like
Yeah,
he shoots
he
at
does-
him, and it's
he
dark in
doesn't.
the nightclub.
Yeah.
So they're sitting there, and Knox is asking his daughter like the dumbest question.
Right.
He's like, "How are you? I hope you're better." And he's just being real creepy.
Yep.
In a situation where any other father would have been like, "Dude, stop
Right.
talking to my daughter.
Hey,
What are
can you
doing?"
fuck off for a second? Like she just came out of a coma.
Yeah.
What about Bruce Willis in his mind? Like, she's mine, leave her
And
alone.
And then, so they leave. They get off the elevator. Knox stays on, and he goes. He says, "Bye, Dr. Kersey."
Yep.
She goes, "Dad, who was that?" And he goes, "I don't know. I don't know who that guy was."
Then it's the gun store again.
Oh yeah. So then he goes to the same sport. No, it's a sporting goods store.
Oh, I'm
Yeah,
sorry,
it's
you're right.
not a gun
Sporting
store.
goods store.
Where
To-
you have to wait
that
72 hours.
that
to
Yeah,
looks
get
only
and he
like-
buys. Oh, it's worth noting in the
Don't worry.
commercial. There's the very first commercial towards the beginning of the movie. They show a coffee table, right? So this
And
coffee, it's
also
called like a tactical
scenes
table.
in the trailer.
Yeah, it's called a tactical. Yeah, okay. The end scene's in the trailer too, but it's called a tactical table or something. It's a table that you kick it, and then a little like swing comes down, and the swing can hold a rifle.
Yep.
Yeah.
Yeah. So he goes back to the sporting goods store.
It's a very
And
Texas or
He
Chicago
buys
Chicago.
a pistol, and probably whatever gun he uses that's fully automatic. There's a lot of fully automatic guns,
Yeah.
Yeah.
in this for some
Chicago.
reason.
Chicago.
but I don't even know if you can buy fully automatic guns
You
from a
can't.
sporting goods. I
No,
didn't think you
can't
could.
buy them.
But that's not going to stop Bruce Willis.
Yeah. He's Bruce fucking Willis.
Well, I mean, there's ways of doing it. Like, I'm not gonna get into detail, but like, there's like ways.
Well,
that
I'm not. Okay, you could make the argument that it's a bump stock, but he like pistol fires it, so that's not even.
Yeah.
But
yeah.
regardless,
Yeah.
so he buys a pistol and he buys this like tactical table, but you don't know that he buys a tactical table. It just shows him at the sporting goods store, and then he says, "I want to buy a gun," and that's
Honestly, it looks
that's
like
the
it's
scene
the
from the
same.
So
trailer.
that's all you get is
Yeah,
that he
honestly,
maybe
it looks
buys a
like
gun.
it's the same
Yeah.
table he's been using the whole movie
Yeah.
too, though.
Yeah, it does.
yeah.
Almost
All of a
like-
sudden, then he hits the,
Almost
the
like when he
leg.
first went in there the first time, he was like, "All right, I'm not gonna get a gun or do any of this paperwork today, but I will get that table."
That is a sexy table.
but
Is this oak? What is this?
but that's the scene from the trailer where he says, "I want to buy a gun."
Yeah,
That doesn't come till the last like 20 minutes of this movie.
Yep.
So and then, oh god, I'm so done talking about this.
we're almost there.
So and then he's at home with his daughter, and they're just like having a good old time. Uncle Frank's there. He leaves, and then it gets. Does it get to the point with the break in? Are we there? Is there another scene? Because I don't even remember.
It's just Frank leaving.
Yeah, Frank
we're at
leaving
the
and stuff.
break
So this is the same motherfucker's gonna rob the same place.
No,
pretty much.
okay. So it's just Knox trying to kill him because he's pissed off. But
Yeah.
so there's a shot. It's a
Understandable.
shot through. This is the only shot that we get of like them before they break in.
Yeah, of like the robbers, like POV.
It's not even them. It's a
They're-
shot. It's a shot from outside the house through a window.
I think they're just starting dinner when that shot
Yeah.
happens.
So
Yeah.
so there's Frank, Paul, and Paul's daughter Jordan.
They're,
Is it
they're
Jordan?
making,
Yeah,
they're
Jordan.
making dinner.
So then no, they're sitting at the dining room table.
Okay.
And then it's a shot through a window, and you can hear Knox whisper, "He's the one in the middle." So they're like, you can tell, like, oh, some shit's about to pop
He
off.
could have also just said he's the short one, he's the bald one,
Or
anything
he's
besides he's the one in the middle.
He's the
Yeah.
Bruce Willis.
He's the wiggle reject over there.
The wiggle
but the wiggle. But he okay, so then they're what are they? They're like she's washing dishes or something, and she's walking.
She specifically, they make a point to show that
That
she
she's
said,
cleaning the
and I quote, "Dad, the kitchen's done. I'm going to bed. Or
Yeah.
the kitchen's all cleaned up. I'm going to bed." And
Yeah.
then he's just standing at the front window, and he's like, "Mm-hmm," just
Yeah.
staring
Well,
out at
well, he's like walking, and then it's not even like a long like shot.
No, not
He
at all.
he quickly looks through like the window on the top of the front door.
Yeah.
And then he's like, "Jordan, come here." And she comes over, and he moves this desk next to the stairs, opens a little like hidden door
Yeah,
under
like
the
Harry
stairs.
Potter room under the
Yeah,
stairs.
to the little Harry Potter room.
To put her down there.
Yeah, and she goes, "Dad, what's going on?" He goes, "I just saw people run across the lawn. Get in here." And so, they're like, okay, like I guess
Chicago violence.
I
you know?
would whatever, but then he shuts the door and moves the desk, which this has no, like it makes no sense. He moves a desk in front of the door, I guess so no one can get in.
completely against it. She
Completely against
There's
it.
no way she could have pushed it open. With
No,
the
I don't know how
angle.
much this desk weighs, but it's
Yeah.
like it's not gonna be.
Well, it takes
what
Bruce
happens.
Willis and it takes Paul and Jordan to move the desk. Because remember, she's
Yeah,
like,
well then
he's
he
like, "Help me
slides it
move
back.
this."
Yeah, but then he slides it back, and so what is it? I think the lights are still on, but then he goes upstairs, and then it gets to these 3 guys. It's Knox and 2 other guys come in with fully automatic assault weapons.
But
I have no idea where they
I do just want to point out, they come in, alarm still doesn't go off.
No,
I'm gonna
still didn't set
punch
his
Bruce
also
Willis
wanna-
in the face at this point.
I also want to point out another thing about them coming in. They just slip a buck knife through in between the door and the door frame and just flip the lock up.
Yeah.
And then that's how they get in.
So like, hold up, like a little fence lock, like the ones that
Yeah.
for a house.
Dude, he sticks the buck
front
knife through the
door.
door, runs it up, and just opens the door.
The
Like-
front door.
but-
Yeah, the front door of this
And
home.
then, okay, so
$1
then,
million home.
Wow.
let's move on from this. Because I just want to get through it, honestly. But, so one of the guys goes upstairs.
2 of them go upstairs.
2 of them? Is it
Yeah,
2 of them?
two
No,
of
no,
them-
one goes up at
No, they
first.
both 2 go up. Each
And
go
then
to
they
different
split off.
rooms.
Yeah.
All right. And then so one goes to Paul's bedroom. This like Tony Gonzalez looking dude. and then he sees Paul's done the classic. He's put pillows in a row
Yep.
so it looks like someone's sleeping.
I actually
And-
think it is Tony Gonzalez because I think
It doesn't matter. Let's just get through
Fuck
this.
that guy.
I'll
But-
tell you.
So the guy comes in. Paul's done the classic like Parent Trap or whatever, Home Alone,
Yeah.
where he's stacked pillows so it looks like someone's sleeping, and the guy's like not even gonna like check and see if he's there. He just mows this bed down, fully automatic, and then he's like, "Oh man, that was just pillows." He moves the covers like, "Oh, it's just pillows." Then he hears the shower. He's like, he's not gonna finesse me again because he definitely didn't hear all those gunshots.
Right.
And then so he goes in the bathroom. As he's going in the bathroom, you just see Paul's hand and a gun come into frame and splatter his brains all over the door. And then, so the other guy that went upstairs hears this, and comes to the bedroom, sees the first guy on the floor,
Yeah, where Paul has
where
drug him
Paul
to the
had
side of
somehow
the bed.
had time to drag him next to the bed, hide under the bed, and then he's like laid the rifle next to the guy in a way it looks like he just dropped it, but Paul's got his hand on it.
Yep.
And then so the guy comes in and he's looking around. Paul picks up the gun from under. He's under the bed, sticks his hand up, and just starts squeezing the trigger. Misses all these shots somehow. He doesn't hit him because then he has to lean out and start shooting with his pistol too.
Yeah.
And then the gun's not even what kills this guy.
Yeah, I think he hits him a couple times in the
Yeah,
in his
he like he
vest.
hits him, but it doesn't kill him.
Suddenly, bulletproof vests actually work in this movie.
Yeah, and then so he knocks him over the rail,
Of the
falls,
staircase.
breaks his neck. It's the goofiest thing I've ever seen.
Oh,
in my
it
life.
is the most Punisher Warzone neck
Yeah.
break.
does it go like completely like that? You
Oh
hear,
yeah,
like,
when he hits, his head is like full 90 degrees, like against his
Yeah,
shoulder.
it's like
So these 2 bullets, the vest stop it, but it knocks him back enough where
Yeah,
breaks
it
the
knocks him.
rail,
It knocks him
and
and
over
he
the
fucking
rail.
flips over,
It lands
like,
on his head.
like Mortal Kombat style, like finish him, and fucking breaks his
And
neck like this.
right next to
But-
where Jordan is.
Yeah,
under
okay,
the
but-
staircase.
And whatever facial expression he
Yeah,
had,
freezes.
he locked on his face
I wish
immediately.
the
I wish
people
there was a
listening
screenshot.
could see the face I'm about to make, but it was literally this.
Yeah.
So it looked like he got goosed.
Yeah, pretty much. It
It looked like he watched the Ring video,
Yeah.
and then it was a week later. But okay, so he broke his neck right at the bottom of the stairs, right next to where Jordan is. And then so Bruce Willis is coming down the stairs because he knows Knox is there, so he's looking around. And then he goes, "Jordan, I'm okay." Yells loud, and then you hear Jordan give a response. So now everyone knows where Jordan is. She's
Yeah.
under the stairs. He's yelling, making sure everyone knows. Like, Knox, you know where she's at? And he's like, "Yeah, man, she's under the stairs. Got it." It doesn't actually happen, but it might as well. So then he goes to the basement for some reason. He's
Yeah.
like, "Oh, maybe I'll go get the rest of my guns." And then he goes downstairs to the basement. Knox has the drop on him. He's just hiding in the corner for some reason.
Literally, a dark corner for no reason.
Pulls the gun on him, and then they're sitting, or he shoots him, doesn't he?
He shoots him and
In the arm or
again.
something?
I think it just grazes him.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Like Bruce Willis is the luckiest bastard.
So, and then Bruce Willis has this couch down in his basement, right next to this table. That's the tactical table. Ooh, lo
Yeah.
and behold. But he's
But
sitting
wait.
there. But wait, there's more. He's sitting there, and he's like, Knox is sitting there giving him like, "Aha, I finessed you, old man. You suck." And then Jordan goes, "Dad!" and like pushes the door to the stairs.
And
To-
she puts no effort.
No
into
effort.
It just
Clears, like just shoves
Moves
his
the
desk
desk
as
over.
far as it's the easiest thing in the world.
there's a dead body right in front of her. She makes
Yeah.
no.
Yeah,
She
like,
just
doesn't even recognize that there's a body in front of her.
Yeah.
She just goes, okay.
She just hopscotches right over this dead
She
body.
does.
Dad!
She goes, Dad, and
Dad.
and Knox's first reaction to go, what? And turn around.
Turn
and look
the
at the
whole way.
turn completely around, giving Bruce Willis enough time to kick this table, and then the gun swings out from underneath it, grabs it, mows Knox
Grabs
down.
it, and the barrel's aimed that way, and he's got to
Yeah.
pick it up and turn it that way, and
Yeah.
then gun him
with
down.
one hand, mows
Yeah,
down
all
Knox.
one hand.
And he
The
probably
arm
puts,
he got shot in, too.
Dude,
Yeah.
he probably puts 35, 40 rounds on this guy standing
Dude,
against
just
this wall.
mows him down. And then, so
With-
Also,
Knox,
Like
also
training
wearing
day
a
style?
bulletproof vest.
Like training day style. Mows
All-
him down, like at the
Yep.
end where.
yeah.
Yeah.
Like, he's just,
Yeah,
Yeah.
but there's no squib. There's no
No.
like explosion of
It's
blood.
just like he just
Oh
like
my
shakes, and then he
God.
falls against the wall. He's sitting down, and then I get when you get shot, blood goes down
Yeah,
and
but
then
the-
spreads out.
but his,
But
like-
it-
but
it's
his
like
It's
asshole-
instant.
come through the holes.
Yeah,
not
it's
just
like-
it's like
puddle under
instant.
him.
And then this puddle just comes out from underneath him.
Yeah, but this man's rectum has a fake blood fountain in it that they just
Yeah.
turned.
Yeah,
And
they
it
just
starts
like
spewing
just
fake
open
blood.
this faucet, just let Stanley Kubrick's shining elevator blood come out. So, and then there's all this blood, and then what? It goes to the detectives. The detectives show up to his
All
house.
the
Yeah.
cops show up.
All the cops
detectives
show
are
up. They
there.
see all these guys.
Oh, Jesus, the goofiest shit.
And then this is like, he says something that's kind of like a weird. He's like, I defended my family, so people are gonna be like, that's gun control right there.
Yeah, they go through the
What if he
detective.
couldn't have a gun?
The detective asks him. He says, "Oh well, I'm going to assume all these guns were bought legally." And he goes, "Yeah."
He goes,
And-
actually, they were. Yeah.
and then
they
he goes, "And what day were? When did you get all these guns?" And he goes, "The day I brought my daughter home from the hospital in case of an event like this."
Yeah. In
It's
case
like-
this ever happened again.
It's like, all right, well, there's
But
your non-72 hours that needed to go by.
Yeah.
But then
Liar.
this is the very end, and it's important to know that at this point, they know that he's the one that's been like capping
Yep.
random people,
Yep.
and then so.
And
to-
they never
to
have
use-
any moral
they use-
problems.
they
with
use-
it. They're always like,
Yeah,
we gotta
well,
get
hold
it.
on. They use the Glock that he
Yep.
finds as like a metaphor. He goes, I heard you also used to have a Glock. And then he's like, yeah, I used to, talking about how he used to just kill random people.
Yeah.
He's
he
like,
goes-
but
he was
I
like-
got rid of it.
He goes, are you going to use the Glock again? He was like, no. And he was like, all right, well then we'll just leave it be. And then the detective just like doesn't do anything about him murdering people, and he has evidence to prove that he's been
Yep.
murdering people. And then, so they're getting ready to leave. The detective,
Well, he doesn't have evidence, but he has the confession that
he
he's
could get him.
Oh,
he
he's
could,
just
he
a
could-
confession.
He could get a conviction.
A
easy.
jury of his peers could
Especially with the
judge it.
confession. I mean, he just confessed,
So-
like, yeah,
so-
I killed people with the Glock. And he's like, oh, okay.
Yeah,
but,
so-
you saved your daughter's life, so it's
Yep.
okay.
So Asac Schrader and Detective Whoopi Goldberg are walking down, and then she looks at him and goes, "Are you
Detective
satisfied?"
Sister Act.
Detective Sister Act. She goes, "Are you satisfied?" And he goes, "No." And then he grabs a piece of pizza from a pizza. I have no idea where this
There's-
pizza came
Yeah,
from.
There's-
okay, so this is
There's
back to what
2
Zach was
pizza
talking about.
boxes and like 6 beers open on this table.
Yeah.
But the daughter, when she cleaned it, the table
No,
was clear.
Yeah,
Okay,
and now
so-
there's just like mail and pizza
so-
boxes and beers all over this kitchen counter
Okay,
that she
so-
just cleaned.
So the pizza was not there before these guys broke
No,
in.
not at all.
So that
Holy
means
shit.
Someone ordered a pizza.
Someone ordered pizza after this horrific murder.
So
it-
Hank and Whoopi must have called it
Hank
in
and
on the
Whoopi
way
were
there.
probably like, we better go ahead and call Little Caesars to make sure they beat us there.
Yeah.
So they're leaving. She goes, "Are you satisfied?" And he goes, "No." Then he grabs a piece of pizza, shoves it in his mouth, and goes, "Now I'm satisfied."
Yeah.
And then, what?
They're in
We
New-
leave this scene.
Yeah.
Yep.
And then it goes to him dropping his daughter off at
NYU.
at college, NYU, because she's gonna go be smart
Yep.
with the second semester because she was in a coma the whole first one.
Yep.
So he drops her off, and then she goes in, and he's like just fine with leaving her, whatever. And then he looks over, and you see this guy steal like a carry-on bag or whatever off
A
a
bag
luggage,
of luggage from a bellhop's little fucking
Like-
cart thing.
you know, like a luggage cart. And then so he goes, "Hey," and the guy that stole it just instantly knows he's talking to me.
Stops running
Yeah,
halfway
stops
across
running.
the
Yeah,
street.
because you know how receptive criminals are in
Yeah,
mid-crime.
like if I steal a candy bar, someone goes, "Hey,"
this
I'm
the
like, "Ah,
famous
shit,
point?
you got me."
This is the famous point where he goes like this in the trailer.
So then the guy turns and looks at Bruce Willis. Bruce Willis just raises his hand
and Kenny
makes-
Omega's this dude.
makes a gun, and then just like uses his thumb as the hammer and goes bang,
Is that
and then
end?
the movie ends.
And then that's the closer.
Roll credits.
Good lord.
And
So from start to finish, this is pretty much
Yeah, I mean, it was
a shit show.
from start
Yep.
to finish, I want to jump off the Big Four bridge.
From
Alright.
start, I wanted to walk out.
Alright, so I'm gonna ask you all. I'm gonna ask you first, Zach. What was your rating out of 10
I was gonna do
before
this.
the movie?
Before the movie,
Yeah.
What was my expectations for the
Just
rating?
like if you
I was-
rated it like
I'll
out of
be
10
like,
stars.
I was like,
I'd say I went in low with a 4.
based
Four.
on Cabin Fever, I was gonna go like maybe 5 out of 10 because
Like-
maybe it's gonna be
Yeah,
terrible.
right,
Maybe
yeah.
there's gonna be some
So
stuff.
you
I
say
like.
4, Zach.
Yeah.
Matt says 5. What about you?
I'll say I was probably thinking it a 5, but what really hurt the expectations, like pre-movie, when we got there, they were handing out these souvenir tickets,
Okay.
and they're like those collector's tickets.
Yeah.
And the tagline on the ticket says Bruce, period, is period back, period.
Wow.
It says Bruce is back with 3 separate sentences, and I hate everything about Death Wish.
Something that also made my expectations kind of drop right as I bought the ticket was I used my rewards points, and when you use your rewards points within the first 2 weeks, you're supposed to pay like $1.50 loyalty fee.
Mhm.
Even the employees went, "Oh, that's weird. I didn't have to pay a cent."
No,
And the movie
and
had
I
come
wish
out
I didn't have
that
to. I
week.
wish I could go back
Yep.
and be like, "You owe me a movie."
So a little afterwards. So after now that we've all seen the film, with the exception of Andrew, Zach, what is your rating out of 10?
A 1.
All right, so
one?
we got a solid 1. Matt, what's
What-
yours?
I just want to know what's the 1 for? Why didn't you give it a 0?
Because of that.
The
Well, I
head
know why,
crush.
me.
The head crush for
The
sure.
Joe scene.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So what's your after movie rating?
Oh God, I'm gonna have to maybe like half a point out of 10.
Half a point out of 10, and what's your half a point based on?
My half a point is based on his daughter.
Is it
That's-
just,
oh yeah,
just
that's
based
true.
on the thickness of Jordan?
And Vincent D'Onofrio doesn't have
Which
a
I
terrible
did
performance.
That's also true.
which I did confirm was her first feature film.
Well, congratulations
Good
to
for
her.
her.
I mean, well, not that she was in that movie in
She
particular.
was in a coma for the whole movie, but she looked real good.
Oh,
But
right.
she was great.
That's also true. And Andrew, so you haven't seen the movie. The only thing you know
based on our analysis.
yeah, based on our analysis, what is your rating of this movie?
Alright, my rating if I do go see this movie, but before I would after watching the trailer and everything, I was like, maybe I'd give it a chance. I'd give it like maybe a 6. But after hearing all these reviews about it, I'd possibly give it like a 1 or 2.
Okay.
Just for generous.
So
just
1
being
or 2.
generous.
Yeah.
So
I mean, so overall, like I think overall all of our review, like you guys seen it, I haven't, and we've even though I haven't seen it, but you guys have, we've pretty much agreed this movie is absolutely terrible.
Yes.
Right.
It's one of the worst. It's easily the worst movie I've seen this year.
So does anyone have any closing?
That's
What's-
that's a
you
that's a
didn't-
pretty
what's
bold
yours?
statement.
Oh, what's mine?
Yeah, what's yours?
After I've seen it, mine's probably. I think I'm gonna go a little higher. I think I'm gonna give it a 2 out of 10.
For what?
So my 2 out of 10 is based
And
on.
it's got to be the daughter, the Joe scene.
Okay, well, yeah, the daughter, the Joe scene.
If you
the
tell me
effects.
it's the bowling ball effect,
It's
when
not.
he gets hit with
But with the exception of the kitchen scene and like the phone and stuff like that, the overall cinematography is like it's
it's
okay.
It's average.
It's average, and
That's something. It's like the shots and the editing aren't what makes it bad.
yeah.
It's just so much other stuff, like everything else.
Yeah, like if I rated the writing, I'd have to give it a 0 just because it's so just plain
And-
goofy.
I think my final opinion is if you were going to go rent this movie from a library, it would be super sticky.
Yeah.
Like the DVD case would just be so sticky.
It'd just be like dusty and sticky, and you'd be like, "Ooh, no one's touched this."
because you know
Yeah.
it's sticky because you know only sticky people rent this movie.
Yeah.
Like people who eat jelly donuts while they're putting the DVD into their whatever.
So
they're playing
in closing, don't be sticky. Don't go see this movie.
Don't be
Is that what you're
sticky.
trying to say?
Yeah.
Yeah, Pelkey,
I'd have to agree.
just don't be sticky.
Tom-
Even not even seeing this movie after hearing what you guys said, I don't want to go see it. I really don't.
Yeah,
I think I
so
think it'd be a waste of $12 in our state at least. It could be higher in other states. It could be lower. If it's $5 movie, I still probably would spend the $5 to see it.
I'll say this: the movie had a $30 million budget.
$30 million.
Yeah,
It
$30 million.
made as of March 8th, it made $15.5 million.
so it's not even made its budget back.
No.
Yet.
Wow.
With DVD sales, I'll say
And how long has this been out?
altogether,
It might make 20.
I think
Came out like March 3rd.
Yeah, I think it's only been out a week now.
But
But it's
with-
only
with-
made $13 million.
but
That
after
should tell you how
15.5.
15 that's
after
still
DVD sales,
pretty bad.
after
Oh, yeah.
DVD sales, and once it goes, by the time it goes out of theaters, I think it'll at least make its money back, but
Maybe.
probably not much more.
I'm a
Not enough to warrant a sequel.
I'm a
The only people who are
project it's probably gonna make maybe like a $10 or $15 million profit. Maybe.
Please
That's
don't.
Pushing it. That's
I'll give
pushing
you-
it.
I'll give you people my email if you just send it to Eli Roth and be like, hey, call me if you ever think about making a sequel
My
to this
thing
movie.
is,
Let me tell you
you have
everything that's wrong with it.
10 writers. That's a lot.
Yeah.
That's a lot.
That's a hell of a... And then on top
Bigger
of it, you
isn't
have,
always better.
Lincoln.
that's also true.
I think Lincoln, the movie Lincoln, that's like almost 3 hours
Abraham
long.
Lincoln.
Lincoln.
It had like 8 writers. This movie's
also
not
a-
even 2 hours.
It's also a Steven Spielberg movie.
Yeah,
though.
it's
Yeah,
also
that's
true.
true.
Yeah, I mean, yeah.
If Daniel Day-Lewis was in
That's-
this movie, I'd love it.
That's like comparing apples to French fries. So I mean,
See,
like,
I think if Daniel
Don't know
Day-Lewis
anything
was in
about
this
apples.
movie,
Exactly.
he would be a vigilante in Chicago right now.
no.
If Daniel Day-Lewis was in this movie.
Final thought: I think Kanye West should have played the main role.
Does anybody else have any soda final comments before I close
I
this
have
thing out?
lots, but
I
I
don't-
just don't want to talk.
I don't have
about
I don't
it.
have like a comment. I just want to like request or just a statement. Just don't go see this movie.
Red
I'm gonna
box.
have to agree.
Red
Don't-
box it.
If
I
you
won't
got
even
if you
red
got a
box it.
friend that can get you a 4K fucking bootleg copy,
Sell it.
watch
That's
that
fine.
one.
Sell it.
Sell it. Don't even watch
Sell it for
Sell it.
1 cent every copy.
Frisbee it.
All right, so to close it out, thank you for sticking around and listening for our, what are we at, like a 2-hour runtime right now? We've been talking about this movie forever.
God.
But we're going to hopefully put out,
Yeah, it's roughly 2.
we're going to hopefully put out content weekly, if not like maybe a couple times a week,
Bi-weekly.
maybe bi-weekly. We're not always going to do movie reviews. We're also going to talk about like wrestling, which also the WWE pay-per-view Payback is coming up, and I also kind of want to do a podcast on that.
It's not Payback. It's Fastlane.
Fastlane, sorry.
It's a SmackDown
Yeah,
exclusive.
so
But,
Get your
also-
facts right.
sorry.
Also, you know,
Vince, don't sue me.
football, basketball, baseball.
Yeah, we're gonna talk about like football, basketball, baseball,
I don't care about
movies. Nobody cares about hockey. Music that's coming out, all kinds of stuff. We're gonna cover a
Pelkey
pretty.
sex life.
I can tell
Just
you that.
overall,
That
like,
podcast
just
would last
overall,
2
like general, just like
seconds.
general talk, like what anybody would talk about. Just
Yeah.
something that's gonna be not even like something controversial, just something that could like people can relate to.
Yeah, we're gonna cover news and all that fun stuff as
Basically,
well.
we all lack affection and we want love.
Yeah, pretty much. Please love us.
Oh yeah.
So
Tell us how fat Andrew sounds.
also that if you
And
hear it,
once the video's up, you can tell us how fat he looks.
yeah. Also, we're
Exactly.
also gonna start doing videos with our podcast. We're not only gonna do audio only. Hopefully by next week, by the next time we post, we'll have video with it. But hopefully we'll see everybody again Friday,
You'll hear us Friday.
You'll hear us Friday, but they might see us too,
Hopefully not.
depending if we can get this camera situation going. But
They're gonna need a camera big enough to see me, guys.
that's right. But thank you everybody. We appreciate it. We out.